Fanatic and 97.5 thefanatic.com.
Morning, everybody. It's a Football Friday on the Mike Missanelli Show. As we go into a week, a lot of football we need to talk about, not the least of which, of course, Philadelphia Eagles at the Commanders. The Commanders feel they have a shot in this game. They may. I don't know. The second time you play a team, you learn from the first time. Washington was a little depleted that first game. They were on short rest, the whole bit. Jaden Daniels wasn't exactly the sharpest. So they think they have a chance. Does it really matter? Yeah, I guess it does. The Eagles would like to still vie for that number one seed. They got to keep winning to do that. I look at it like the Eagles could probably take a loss in this game. But I don't know how the people feel about that. If the Eagles do lose this game, does it knock you down a peg? I mean, all week long, I've been really high on the Eagles. I've been touting them as the best team in the NFC. I don't think anything really can get in their way towards the end of the season as they go into the playoffs. And it's just a matter of waiting whether the Lions and the Vikings can lose so the Eagles get that total number one seed. So if they lost this game, I would just kind of like chalk it off as it's a schedule loss, and if they have to take the 2 seed, that's fine, because I still think even at the 2 seed, they're the best team in the NFC. Even if they have to go on the road to win an NFC title game, I just can't see them going to Detroit and losing to that team. It's all beat up right now, and I don't think the Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold would be ready for that kind of a challenge to beat a really good defense like the Eagles. So I'm on easy street with this team, and there's really nothing that can knock me off that perch. But I wonder how many people out there feel if the Eagles lose that would set them back and they would go into that feeling of woe. And when we look at this game, and we're going to obviously get into the X and O's of this game, the Washington Commanders have forged a 10-win year. It's the first time in, 12 years, I believe. Last time they did it was 2012. So they're riding high. They're feeling good about themselves. And the Washington defense has been okay, but they played the Saints last week as they only gave up 19 points. And I understand that Marshawn Lattimore is now in their lineup, and he's probably going to be on A.J. Brown. And, there's all these things that Washington thinks they can rely on to win the game. We talked to the guy, John Heim, yesterday, who covers the Commanders, and he thinks they have a fighting chance, although at the end he kind of dropped off and said they probably the Commanders probably will not win this game. So we're going to get into all this with the theme being, if the Eagles lost this game, would you feel terrible about it? Would you go back? Is this the thing that would knock all the sky is falling people back into their little cove where they go, see, I told you, this team, blah, 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 blah. Suppose the Eagles lose the game 21-20. Like, what would that do for you? Let's welcome the gang in here. Bill Colarulo is with me, and Sean Rodman produced today. Ray was on a jet plane yesterday. He actually tweeted out a picture of a beer that he consumed at the airport before he got on the airplane to go to San Francisco to broadcast Temple Owls female basketball, women's basketball.
If I could die and come back as anybody, I think it's Ray Dunn.
Yeah.
Living the dream, that kid. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, he's doing a good job calling the games for Temple Women's and then obviously for Temple Men on ESPN+. But the question that you raised to start the show about the Eagles, let me get this out of the way. I'm with you. I don't think they lose on Sunday. I think they're a lot better team than the Washington Commanders are. Commanders haven't beaten anybody that has a winning record. But if for some reason the Eagles go down to Landover, Maryland, and they lose this football game, I'm not going to freak out about it, but I also am not going to be feeling that great because now you've wasted any opportunity you would have of being the 1 seed. And it also depends on how the team looks in the loss. If they play well, they lose a close game, and maybe some fluke things happen that keep the Commanders in it, okay, I could live with it. But if they come out and the Commanders are able to stop the run and the passing game doesn't look effective, and a lot of the issues you saw in the previous weeks that had us concerned, maybe the first quarter scoring is a problem, maybe Jake Elliott doesn't look good. Like, if those things rear their ugly head then I'm going to have my concerns. If it's just a fluke, maybe the ball doesn't bounce their way a couple of times, some bad penalties, all right, you don't feel as bad even though you've given up the 1 seed. But I think it depends on how this game looks, and then I'll be able to react to it.
All right, do you have any fear about Jalen Hurts getting sacked? He's been sacked 7 times in the last 2 games. He's been very efficient. He had a 125 rate last week. He's gone over 90 in his rating in his last 4 games with 6 touchdowns and no interceptions. But he has been sacked. Any concerns about Washington getting to him?
Certainly. I mean, they are about middle of the pack. I think they have 35 sacks this season. They have Dante Fowler. Even their linebacker, Frankie Louvu, does a good job of getting after the quarterback when they dial up the blitz. So you have that concern a little bit. But with Jalen Hurts, he's always going to get sacked. I mean, even when he's playing well, he takes sacks sometimes, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You live for another down. You don't want to force anything. But is it a concern? I'm not overly concerned about it. Can they get after the quarterback? Yes.
So you don't really have any concerns about this game? It sounds like you don't have concerns.
Well, I mean, you look up and down and the matchups, and the Eagles are the better team across the board, both sides of the football. I don't see the Commanders having an advantage anywhere. The only way that they lose this football game is how they lost to the Commanders 2 years ago when they were dominant, and that's turnovers. If for some reason the Eagles turn the football over and keep the Commanders in the game, that's the only way I see them losing.
I agree. The best thing that Washington, or the worst thing that they do, is against the run. They've been really bad against the run. So, I mean, the formula for the Eagles in this game would probably go back to the jump where they run the ball, control the clock, and do what they did on that last drive to cement that game against the Steelers. And the only thing that slightly worries me is that in the first game, Terry McLaurin was a non-factor. So I'm thinking that the Commanders really make an emphasis to get him the ball. Now, that goes right into the teeth of the Eagles secondary, which has held wide receivers to an 82.8 rate. That's 6th in the league. So even if I think McLaurin's going to have a better game, I go, well, he's going to have to do it against a really good back line. So I don't even know if they have the advantage there. I agree with you. I don't think there's anything that I look at with the Commanders that they would have an advantage over the Eagles. So if the Eagles did lose this game, this would be really shocking to me. This was kind of, it would, I said it wouldn't matter as far as the overall picture, but if they lost this game, it would be a regression from how they're playing because they seem to have the advantage in every area in this game. So that's the only thing that worries me. It doesn't worry me for the long haul, but it worries me that they would take a step backwards against an inferior team. Washington is not in the realm of where the Eagles are.
No, they're not. And if we're looking at the standings, if they lose this game, I guess the one positive is your Week 18 game probably wouldn't matter. So you could utilize that almost like a bye. But they also would not clinch the NFC East if they lose. So if they lose to the Commanders, they don't clinch the NFC East. And now I don't expect them to lose to the Cowboys or the Giants, but you're going to have to win one of those games if the Commanders win out. So I'd like to just see them take care of business, man. And when you talk about how they're bad against the run, it would be nice to see Saquon have a huge day and get him back on pace to maybe beat Eric Dickerson.
For the big record.
Yeah, so right now he needs 139 a game. It'd be nice to see Saquon go off for like 175 in this game, and now it's within reach.
All right, so we got a lot of stuff planned. Bill is only here for a condensed show. He's here for 2 hours, and then he's going to a kiddie play, which is cute.
Yes, my daughter's very excited.
On the heels of you seeing Cirque du Soleil last night at the Met. Beautiful place, isn't it, the Met?
The Met was a beautiful place, and the show was phenomenal.
Yeah, the Cirque du Soleil, Bill's all, and then he goes from Cirque du Soleil to the Kitty Christmas.
Back to back, less than 24 hours away. We're going to Christmas plays.
Oh, cute.
I'm getting in the Christmas spirit,
So
Mike.
Bill will be here till 12, and then on the other side of 12, Johnny Clark from NBC Sports Philadelphia will climb in here, and we'll talk about, I know a lot of people would have some questions for Clark on how he operates in the airport, and he's the hardest working man. He's all over the place, this dude.
He is. I am curious to hear as well. How is he always Johnny on the spot at the airports? How's that happen?
Yeah, we'll talk about that, and we'll get. He approaches covering sports in a different way than we do. That's why he's called Johnny Sunshine.
He is. He's always positive.
And he's a very positive man. So I want to see how he achieves that positivity, because it's not in my DNA.
Yeah, you're not always Mr. Positive.
Right. So here's how you get in. 610-632-0975. We got around the NFL. Well, no, our NFL picks at 11:30, and then we have Sirianni coming on at 11:40, right before you leave. So at least you'll get to hear your cousin. If he comes on at 11:40, he may blow past the deadline. And then Clark at 12 o'clock, Tim McManus at 1 o'clock. It's a very full show today. Again, 610-632-0975. Your text and your calls. The Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Can you feel it?
The Eagles are back to being Super Bowl contenders.
This team's got a real shot. So many reasons to believe.
Right now, Eagle fans, you got to be Mike Missanelli Show. Woo-hoo! All right, so they're really it's interesting because Football Fridays usually you get some excitement going. Fans are like they're so content with how good the Eagles are right now that there's no angle for them to talk about. Like it's a Football Friday, they're going into a fairly big game, right?
Yeah, it's to win the NFC East.
But we are so confident and serene about the state of the team that we don't even believe that the Commanders would have a chance to win. Like, think about this for a second. Normally, there would be, oh, my God, I don't panic. The Eagles, I don't want to see them take a step down. There's none of that because people are just, they're walking around. It's Christmas season. The Eagles are good. They're not even thinking Sixers to bring them down. They're thinking of what the Eagles are to lift them up with the holiday season coming. They're all busy. They don't have time to fret about a really good team.
I know, it is pretty crazy, man. You got 3 straight NFC East opponents coming up, and I think every fan is just looking forward to the playoffs. That's it.
I mean, that's the truth. It's the truth. They just want to fast forward the rest of this year.
They do. Well, at least they're excited about Max Kepler, another left-handed bat in the outfield for the Phillies. That's getting the fan base riled up.
The Phillies and the Sixers, I guess we'll bring up a little bit. I don't quite understand the signing of that guy, but that's an issue for another day.
No, yeah.
He's a left-handed hitter. I mean, I don't know. Did they need a left-handed hitter to play left field? I don't know. It doesn't make that much sense to me.
No, it's been a very underwhelming offseason for the Phillies, and it continues.
I mean, I know they don't want to reach the $300 million, the apron penalty, and all that kind of thing, but $10 million for a mediocre player in a one-year deal. I guess they're taking a flyer to think that he can regain his power, which he hasn't had for like the last 4 years.
He really only had one season with power.
Why didn't bring in the German fans though? The German fans that usually have to wait for soccer. Yeah. His last name is like he's a Polish German, right? He shortened it to Kepler.
Oh, what was it before?
Oh, look at it. It's a crazy Polish name.
Let me see.
Yeah, what is it?
Maximilian Kepler Rosicky.
Rosicky. Yeah, with the CK, like the CYK, like that kind
of
kind of spell. So they actually signed him from Germany. He is a German national.
Yes, born in Berlin.
So I don't know. They're like German fans here. Come to the park.
I don't know, man. I just look. I don't want to. I know it's Football Friday, but I was frustrated with Dombrowski when the only move they really made at the deadline was Austin Hayes. They basically got Austin Hayes again.
It is. It's not that much of an upgrade from Austin Hayes, unless they see something that we don't. All right. So 610-632-0975 is how you get in. One thing I wanted to mention, I against my better judgment, I watched the Aaron Rodgers documentary because I had heard it was good, even if you don't like him.
I haven't seen it yet.
Not only do I not like him, I started thinking to myself as I'm watching, I'm going, why the F am I even interested in watching this? I was looking within myself, and I'm going, why would I waste my time watching this documentary on this guy?
Wait, is it multiple episodes or just one?
No, it's one episode. It's one long documentary. It's called Enigma.
And there's nothing interesting about it?
I'm first of all, I'm not interested in him. And I found myself like, why would I watch something that I'm not interested in the guy at all? Why would I watch this? Because I heard some people say, well, it's a pretty good documentary.
Yeah, I was thinking about watching it, too, for that very reason. But, I mean, I'm not that interested in Rodgers. But you see him and Ryan Clark are having a little feud now.
Yeah, I know. I'm more disappointed in myself.
That you sat there and watched it?
Yeah, I mean, I got 3 other shows that I'm vibing on right now. And I could have continued watching any of those shows. Instead, I wasted an hour and a half watching that thing. Before I didn't even finish it. I said,
So you could have joined me and the wife at Circus du Soleil last night instead of that.
It's Cirque du Soleil, not Circus du Soleil.
Whatever, you knew what I meant.
It's French.
Circus du Soleil.
Circus du Soleil. What was it? A lion tamer, like sticking his head in the mouth of a lion? It's Cirque du Soleil. It's art. Circus du Soleil.
You see the abuse I take, Sean? So you don't usually produce this
circus.
show.
Where do you get Circus du Soleil?
I said circa.
No.
Cirque
du Soleil.
du Soleil. There we go. At the Met.
I'm sometimes behind the scenes, so I do get to see Mike rip on you and Ray as well all the time.
You believe this guy? Anyway, you could have joined us.
Barnum and Bailey's going to show up.
Barnum and Bailey.
It's an art form. Cirque du Soleil.
It was unbelievable, though.
I'm sure.
Very impressive stuff.
I'm sure it was. Let me ask you a question. If Bill's walking around the house, would Bill have the idea, hey, hon, let's go see Cirque du Soleil? Or was
shot.
Was this a wife thing?
My wife texted me. I said, hey, we should go to this. And then I bought tickets for her.
You know, hon, I can see you coming home. You know, hon, let's go see Circus du Soleil.
No, it's not me. No. I would have been more, let's go to the Flyers game.
Let's go to Scott on his cell. Scott, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Scott.
Yo, Mike.
What's up, Scott?
What's up? What's going on, guys?
How you doing?
Good. Before the season started, I had called in, and you, myself, and Bill were talking about the Eagles' defense of possibly maybe breaking middle of the pack. We weren't really sure. We didn't know what to expect, obviously, but we didn't expect them to be where they're at today, week 15. Do you recall an Eagles team, specifically a defense, that just has been so surprising to this point in the season? I mean,
no. Every other defense that was good, we expected to be good. Like if you go back and
exactly.
in the day, you know. But this defense, like you're absolutely right. Like we had no idea. In fact, when it first started, we're going, I don't know about this Fangio guy. He doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. But these guys have matured under his system, and it's really been impressive. Now, the two rookies, I didn't know what to expect, whether they would be good right away. They turned out to be good right away. But a guy like Vaughn came out of nowhere. Nakobe Dean turned into a really good player all of a sudden, right? And now we knew in the middle of the defensive line they'd be a little stout, but they've been getting contributions from Nolan Smith. I mean, who had that on their bingo card?
I know. It's such a surprise, and like I'm just sitting here like I did not expect this. The Vaughn kid has really, really been a nice player on that defense.
Total surprise. I mean, who knew? Like he's adapting to a new position, right? And we're going, I don't know. Josh Sweat hit a wall last year. I don't know what they're going to get from the rush. Brandon Graham goes down. They didn't miss a beat. The guy with the cornerback that might be the rookie of the year. The other guy's been fantastic. Their safeties have been really hard hitting. They're a good defense.
It's a very good defense, and I think the last decade, you look at Super Bowl teams, you'd had to have like a top 10 defense, and that's what we were discussing. And we're like, I just don't know if we have that, and here we are, and we have it, and
that's
nice.
what sets them apart from anybody they're going to play. Now, I don't. Again, this is short of the Super Bowl, but anybody they're going to play coming down the stretch here to win the NFC. The Eagles are going to up them because they have that consistent defense that's going to hold the score down. So you don't have to score that many points to win.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why I agree with you with this week and the bye. I don't get too hung up on it. I think if we have to travel into Detroit, the way this defense is playing, I feel confident either way.
I totally agree. At one point, I was not confident in that.
No, I don't know how you would have been, especially when we get back. I want to put in perspective this Eagles defense right now. Number one in yards against, number one in points against. Mm-hmm. I want to put into perspective how rare that is for a Philadelphia Eagles football team.
You do a lot of research?
I did some research on this. And if
did you do that when you were at Circus du Soleil?
No, I was
okay.
Locked in, man, at Circus du Soleil.
610-632-0975 is how you climb into the show. The Mike Missanelli Show continues on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
It's a football Friday. I'm Sean Rodman, and this update is brought to you by Wawa Holiday Gift Cards. Wawa gift cards are perfect last-minute gifts for everyone on your list, and they're available in festive holiday designs, too. Everyone loves a Wawa gift card. The Birds can clinch the division this weekend with a win over the Commanders. Commanders running back Brian Robinson said earlier in the week that he believes that they are the better team. But according to Washington's radio play-by-play announcer, Bram Weinstein, some Commander fans may feel a little bit different.
So I think it's really interesting. I'm not completely standing behind what Brian Robinson said, but I think Washington can win. And I don't know that I would expect them to, but I think they can. I keep hearing things like, well, if they just win one of the next three or definitively two of the next three, then this game this weekend doesn't matter
from those fans, they don't seem overly confident, but you can listen to Bram Weinstein's full interview with the Kincade and Salciunas on 97.5thefanatic.com. A programming note for you, Nick Sirianni will speak to the media around 11:40. We'll have that for you, or when he decides to speak to the media. ESPN's Tim McManus will join us at 1 as well to preview the Commanders. The Sixers host the Charlotte Hornets tonight as Joel Embiid is listed as questionable. And according to Keith Pompey, Caleb Martin will remain out with a right shoulder injury. The Philadelphia Phillies have made a move. The team has signed outfielder Max Kepler on a 1-year, $10 million deal. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the 76ers and Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com. And this update is also brought to you by PayPal. Get exclusive cashback offers in the app. And with the PayPal debit card, stack 5% more in your chosen monthly category on up to $1,000 purchases. Don't just pay, PayPal.
Show 97.5, The Fanatic on a football Friday. In a little bit, we'll give you our fearless selections for the weekend. I got one college game thrown in there. It might not be the college game you think. I've rethought. Yeah, I've been touting all week. Maybe Indiana could beat Notre Dame. I don't think they can now, so staying away from it.
Maybe the weather will affect it. Right? It's supposed to be a snowy day in Indiana.
I don't know. In any event, we got texts coming in. You can first join the show, 610-632-0975. Ray Dunn not with us today. Sean Rodman is our producer in the other side of the booth today. What do we got, first of all, on the Circus du Soleil, Sean?
So we have Matt in Clearwater checking in. He says, ask Bill how he enjoyed the snake charming and the fire eating at Circus du Soleil.
I set myself up for this.
The bearded lady, was she there last night?
I do set myself up.
The guy with 12 fingers, did he show up with this?
Listen, I said circa, all right? And you just heard circus, okay?
You said circus.
I said
circus all week, and I haven't corrected you. I finally had enough of it.
I told you. MBD in the chat. Bill, I'm not a meathead. Also, Bill, Circus du Soleil. Hold on. Let's change the subject, please.
Wait. First of all, I got another text I got to get to. Let me run the show.
All right. Do your thing.
Chill out, Sparky. All right?
Sparky.
All right, so there's one text,
Christmas Vacation. Great movie.
One text on the excitement for the game, Sean. What do you got?
Yeah, this person just wants to say, let's go, Birds. I'm so pumped for this game. Let's win the division. And this one's from Bob.
Okay, there you go. Now, before you get into your statistical analysis, which I really appreciate because you do dig into some numbers, and you got some numbers coming up with the defense. We had John Keim on, and he covers the Commanders. And I was basically asking him how the Commanders can win this game. It's they didn't win the first game. They looked like they were a little bit outclassed. And so I did ask him, why is this game different? Here's what he had to say.
Honestly,
What was that?
That was the Brian Robinson audio. It switched on me. Here's John Keim.
There's John Keim.
First of all, 2 weeks ago, I watched Xavier Legette drop a ball at the goal line that would have won the game for the Panthers. Ooh. So, in other words, like any week you don't know in this league, right? Like there's no reason the Panthers should have come close in that game, and yet they did because this is a weird league sometimes. And then you watch the Eagles look unbeatable last week. So where does this go? So the league is weird that way. Then number two, first of all, I mean, they're better. We know that, right? Like nobody's going to argue that Washington would be a better team. But if there's a difference between the first game and this game, last game they were banged up, coming off a short week, on the road, off a physical game against Pittsburgh, and there you go. And so I think, like, how much did that play into it? Will that make a difference this time? I don't know. I know they hope it does. I don't know if it will. I think Jaden Daniels is feeling a lot better this week than he was that week. He was dealing with the after effects of a rib injury, some practice time off, and sure. But then they're playing the run better. But the last time they faced Barkley, I mean, he had a couple big runs in the fourth quarter. And the hard part with Barkley is it's not like that was an unusual situation for him where you think you have him in check, and then boom, he kills you, right? So, like, I don't know if that will be different, but it has to be different. But I think for the reason for optimism here would be not a short week, feeling much more refreshed, quarterback who is maybe who's been good all year, but maybe just feeling a lot better than he did in that game.
There you go, a more refreshed quarterback. That's a valid point. However, when he says, "I just watched the team," Xavier Legette drop ball away from. That's one dog bite, my friend. Okay, the Eagles already went through that game where it was the lull game. That they're not. It doesn't. The lull game wakes you up more than it puts you to sleep. So if you're gonna make the analogy, Carolina almost beat them. Yeah, that was the wake up call, and that was the schedule slacking. Now you go. Now you're more determined not to let that happen. That's why I think the Commanders are in worse shape, actually.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, they had their letdown game already. This isn't a letdown game. I know some people are asking that question because they just played a really good game against Pittsburgh. Is this now a letdown? I don't think so. Not against a division opponent. Not when you have an opportunity to win the NFC East. And like you said, Mike, they're only 2 weeks removed from their letdown game. So I think they're more focused. I'm not buying that.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, this is a competitive situation for the Eagles. They're not going to look at them like they're the Carolina Panthers. And so the rebound game against the Steelers was, okay, let's take care of business. And that was against a really good team. So they're not going to have another letdown against this team because this is another competitive team for them.
Very true.
All right, let's look at the defense, Bill. And you've dug into some numbers that statistically, this could be the best defense the Eagles have ever had. Now, we're talking about a history of defense in this town that was very splashy. And people love it. The Buddy Ryan defense, very splashy. The Jim Johnson defense, very splashy. And people are conditioned to think that those were the quintessential Philadelphia Eagle defenses. But the numbers don't play that out, do they?
Not exactly, Mike. So we're talking about a defense that last year finished 26 in yards against, 30th in points against. And just to put into perspective how historic the defense you're watching right now could be, they currently sit number 1 in the NFL in points against and yards against. Throughout the Philadelphia Eagles franchise history, they've only finished number 1 in yards against 7 times. You got to go all the way back to 1991 is the last time. They've only finished number 1 in points against 4 times. You got to go all the way back to 1981. But they've only finished number 1 in both categories twice in the entire history of the franchise, 1981 and 1949. If they continue this pace of play, you are seeing literally one of the best defenses we have ever seen in the history of the franchise, and there isn't a single person out there who could have predicted that before the season started. It's pretty impressive.
It really is. So let's look at this game and the possibilities. I don't think they're going to lose this game. And if they lose this game, I may have to even, second guess. To me, if they lost this game, it wouldn't hurt that, again, for the overall picture. But if they lost this game, I would go, whoa, wait a minute. Superior teams don't lose this kind of game this late in the year when they see the finish line and when they're rolling. So this would be a step back for me in evaluating this team if they actually lost this game.
It does depend on how it looks, though. Because if it's a fluky loss because of a couple of bad turnovers that are just exactly that. Like if Jalen comes out and throws 4 interceptions, then maybe I'm worried.
Well, that would be that would.
But if it's like a muffed punt or something along those lines that changes the outcome of the game, I'm probably not going to overreact.
That would still make me feel kinky about it. Like if they turn the ball over to allow that team to beat them, that would set me back a little bit because good teams wouldn't allow that to happen.
Did you say kinky?
Hinky.
I thought you were going to feel kinky about it.
Hinky.
I didn't know where we were going.
Yeah, hinky.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it all plays out. I'm with you though. I can't imagine that they lose this football game. I can't imagine it. But hold on, real quick too, because the YouTube chat is weighing in on those stats I just gave about the defense.
Yeah.
And here's what the crazy thing is. So Relative Time Works, his name on YouTube, says 2, maybe 3 players from this year's defense would start on the 91 team. Now, that's how crazy it is because our memory is that 91 team was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But the 91 team finished number 1 in yards. They weren't number 1 in points against. This team can do something that even the 1991 team that they're saying maybe 2 guys would have even started on.
Here's the thing about Philadelphians. They would rather see the aggressive splash than they would the efficiency. It is time immemorial in this city where the template was set by the hard hitters and the blitzers and all that and the aggressive defensive coordinators. Whereas that was pleasing to the eye, that also was mistake-ridden a lot, which prevented them from actually being number 1 efficiency, right?
Yeah, and in 91, they had a terrible offense.
Yeah, listen, I could sit here and profess love for my favorite player was Wes Hopkins. Now, Wes Hopkins couldn't run a lick, but he'll knock your head off.
Number 41?
Yeah, I believe it's 41. Yeah. And Andre Waters, the same thing.
Dirty Waters.
And Eric Allen, who was a Hall of Fame guy. I get it. And you're talking about Reggie was my favorite player of all time, and Clyde Simmons, and B&E, and all the you can
they
go
had a lot of good players.
You can go down the list. But the bottom line is we got intoxicated by the aggressiveness, which doesn't really work as well in this kind of football than it did before.
That's a good memory by you. I just pulled up the 91 starters.
Yeah, well, everybody knows them. Everybody,
Yeah.
they're
Mike, listen to this defensive line. Reggie White, Jerome Brown,
Yeah.
Clyde Simmons, and Mike Pitts.
yeah. Mike Pitts was a really solid player too.
Linebacker, our man Seth Joyner, Byron Evans. You had Eric Allen, Andre Waters, Wes Hopkins. Left corner was Ben Smith. I don't remember Ben Smith.
First round pick out of Georgia.
Yeah, I didn't remember him.
Yeah, he
that's
was a number one
defense,
pick
man.
out of Georgia. Now he didn't really live up to his billing, but he was solid for a little while. We all remember those players for what reason? Because
was the gangrene.
Because they set him on fire. They lit him mad. They set him on fire, and they came out and they were like crazy hitters. That's what we loved. That's the Philadelphia mentality defense. But with that, they would make some mistakes, and they would get burned every now and then.
But how crazy is it that with those names we just referenced from 1991, that this defense could do something that they couldn't even do? I mean, I am blown away at how good this defense is when you have guys like Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean and Nolan Smith, who I admittedly had written off in the preseason, saying, I don't know if this kid's going to have it. I mean, this defense, what they are doing is unbelievable, and there is not a single person who could have anticipated. I've had people lie and say, I knew they were going to be good. There is no way that you ever could have imagined they would have done something that even the 91 defense couldn't do.
Well, let me ask you a question. As good as that defense was, all those names that we just rattled off, what did that defense not do? It didn't win.
It didn't win. Also because the offense was very bad.
Yeah, but that defense was good, wasn't good enough to win. So,
Yeah, they had like the 25th ranked offense.
Yeah, you look at the Bears in '86. Their offense wasn't that great either. Their defense won. All right? They had a splashy defense that won. That was the Buddy Ryan defense also with the Bears in 1986. So as much as we were intoxicated, and I was too. I mean, I'm Reggie White. I was crazy for Reggie White. He's my favorite player maybe of all time in this city.
Yeah, he was a stud. Yeah, I'm looking now too. But that 91 team, number 1 in yards. Now, they did finish top 5 in points against, so they had a great defense. 25th in yards offensively, 18th in points. They just didn't have it. And that was McMahon, right? McMahon was
Well, it was Randall.
Yeah, but I think he got hurt.
He got hurt. Yeah.
Still interesting. It's still interesting to just look, something that Andrew DeCecco, who we saw in the hallway before we left, does a great job covering the Eagles. He said before the season that when he would talk to Nakobe Dean kept describing this defense, saying, we're going to be a no-name defense. This is going to be more of a team type of defense. And I think you are seeing that. I mean, obviously, Quinyon Mitchell may win Rookie of the Year. Zach Bond's got a lot of Pro Bowl votes. Jalen Carter could be an All-Pro. But they are really doing this as an entire unit, which makes it even more impressive.
It's the whole team!
Hell, how about Sean with a drop?
What was that one?
That was Jason Kelsey's Super Bowl speech saying it's the whole team. Oh, okay. And by the way, Sean, you're getting some encouragement in the YouTube chat. MBD just wanted to remind you to breathe and everything was going to be okay.
Thanks, MBD.
That's what MBD said. And now I'm not going to make you answer, but people want to know if you have a higher SAT score than Ray Dunn. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's almost impossible.
What was Ray's again?
It's like a 1550.
Is that out of 16 or was that out of 24?
No,
out
of
that
16,
time it was out of 24.
Out of 1600, Ray said.
If my 2400 score was higher than his, but no, my 1600 score is not.
Yeah, so just breathe. MBD said it's all fine. Everything's going to be all right. He was worried about you.
Appreciate it.
He was worried about you because I think MBD was saying that you were rushing through your update.
Well, I forgot that there was a second sponsor at the back, so I had to go quick.
That's all right. Yeah, measure your words a little. Yeah, it goes a little slower. Take a breath.
I'm trying to look. There are some other good comments.
You're going to take all kinds of views from this YouTube chat, which is freaking relentless.
Oh, I know.
It's a good chat.
That's okay.
We do have the best YouTube chat in the game. I'm telling you that right now.
It's all fun and games.
All right. By the way, one little thing here. I'm so tired of this now. Yesterday we talked about how Jalen Hurts had moved up in a particular quarterback ranking.
Yes, I saw.
Did you see this one today?
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
Now, I don't know. They must have a personal agenda, these people, because it doesn't make sense. Who is Nick Shook?
I have no idea.
Is this the NFL Network?
Yes, it is NFL.com.
NFL.com. Now, I don't know who this Nick Shook is, right? But he's got the NFL quarterback index. Now, let me just read the rankings here. Number 1, Josh Allen. All right. Number 2, Lamar Jackson. All right. Number 3, Joe Burrow. Now you're starting to lose me a little. Number 4, Jared Goff. All right. Number 5, Baker Mayfield.
You know I got a problem with that.
Number 6, Jaden Daniels. Number 7, Jordan Love. Now, you notice who I haven't said yet. Well, let's continue. Number 8, Patrick Mahomes. Number 9, Sam Darnold.
Having a good season.
Number 10 is, who's number 10?
Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford. Number 11, you ready for this? Geno Smith. Number 12, Brock Purdy.
You're still not to Jalen.
Number 13, Russell frickin' Wilson. And number 14 is Jalen Hurts. Now, there's got to be a personal agenda to rank him below several of those quarterbacks.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying you got to put the guy in the top 5, but to have Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, I don't know. You're right. You probably
it's
have
absolutely ridiculous. When you look at the rating alone, you can't justify putting him 14th.
But what I don't understand is if you read the blurb underneath of it, I wanted to see, okay, well, what's his explanation? And it's like, well, after spending a week answering questions about his relationship, he responds with 290 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he says he fires a laser to Brown. He goes on to say he led him on a 10-minute drive to finish the game. There's not a single negative in the blurb.
No, he's got Aaron Rodgers just a notch below him at 15.
And we just saw Russell Wilson and Jalen Hurts go head-to-head. Did Russell Wilson impress you at all? That offense had 0 firepower. They couldn't do anything in that football game.
Yeah.
Who is this Nick Shook? I got to look him up.
Yeah,
now.
look this Nick Shook guy. In fact, we should get him on the air because I'm shook.
I got a better beard, too.
610-632-99. See, you always go too far. 610-632-0975. Did they allow you in with that bad beard at the Circus de Soleil?
It was a big topic of conversation with me and the wife on the way into the city.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Well, we have to horn in on that convo sometime in your final hour on the program. You getting full pay for this day?
Well, what they're charging me for the tickets to my daughter's play, I need it.
610-632-0975. Coming up, our picks in the 11 o'clock hour. Stay tuned.
Fanatic Sports Update.
It's a Football Friday. I'm Sean Rodman, and this update is brought to you by PayPal. Get exclusive cashback offers in the app and with the PayPal debit card. Stack 5% more in your chosen monthly category on up to $1,000 in purchases. Don't just pay, PayPal. And, well, it's the Eagles can clinch the division this weekend against the Commanders. Commanders running back Brian Robinson said earlier in the week that he believes they are the better team. But according to Washington's radio play-by-play announcer Bram Weinstein, some Commander fans may feel a little bit differently.
So I think it's really interesting. I'm not completely standing behind what Brian Robinson said, but I think Washington can win. And I don't know that I would expect them to, but I think they can. I keep hearing things like, well, if they just win one of the next 3 or definitively 2 of the next 3, then this game this weekend doesn't matter.
You can listen to the full interview with Bram Weinstein on 97.5thefanatic.com. A programming note for you, Nick Sirianni will speak to media around 11:40 or whenever he decides to speak to the media. ESPN's Tim McManus will join us at 1 as well to preview the Commanders. And the Sixers host the Charlotte Hornets tonight, and Joel Embiid is listed as questionable. At practice yesterday, Andre Drummond told the media, quote, "I'm sure Joel Embiid will be back tomorrow too," according to Keith Pompey's article in the Philadelphia Inquirer. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. Pre-game coverage starts at 6 650. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Grungo Law. That's your law firm when you need help because of an injury. Pray for peace. Prepare for trial. GrungoLaw.com. Our 10 o'clock hour was brought to us by Window Nation, where you can take advantage of their fantastic 50% off sale right now on all style windows. Plus, make no down payment, and you'll have no payments and no interest for 12 full months. That's a good deal. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. All right, so at the 11 o'clock hour, we're talking about what would happen if the Eagles actually lost this game. I don't think that's even going to happen, but I got to be honest, it would really set me back. This team is now on some kind of a groove, and if they lost the game to this team, which I think is an inferior team, let's face it, I don't think a guy like Jaden Daniels has grown up enough to beat this defense, and if they do that, then it's a setback for me. I don't know what it would do as far as I still probably would pick them to win the NFC, but I would have to certainly reevaluate. So we're talking about that. We also have it's a great football weekend. It's interesting that college football has decided to go head to head with the NFL, Bill. So you have a noon game in college, and then you have a 1 o'clock pro game.
Yeah, it was kind of dumb of the NFL to do. I mean, I guess they always do Saturday games this late in the season. That's been a thing over the last few years.
Oh, they don't care. It's really the NFL's king. Like they're going to get the viewers. They'll go
up against anybody.
Yeah, they couldn't care less. But it's the NCAA that I think is really like you kind of. I don't know. I would have. Listen, the NFL king. I can't have my game at the same time as the NFL game. Like I would have tried to figure something like that out. Now there's a game tonight with the NCAA. Maybe there could have been 2 night games. I don't know. Can you do 2 night games Friday night? Well, anyway, Sean, let's play. Who plays tonight? Can we get for the people out there? All the Irish people, all the Irish Catholics. Tonight is your night. Notre Dame win one for the Gipper against Indiana. I once thought that Indiana could actually win. Now I don't.
What's the line on that?
7.5. The line hasn't moved, so it indicates to me that Indiana can't win this game.
I don't know. It's down to 6.5.
Oh, it is?
On FanDuel, 6.5.
Well, I think they can hang close. I think Notre Dame will overpower them at the end. But then tomorrow at 12 o'clock, Sean, give me a little fever here. All right, so it's Penn State against SMU.
I'm rooting for you, Mike.
I think SMU could cover.
What's that, at 8.5 now?
Yeah. But I'm not playing that Penn State theme just for the football game, Bill.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Last night, in the Final Four in women's volleyball. Now, I don't know how many people watch women's volleyball, but if you watch Big Ten volleyball, you will be intoxicated by it.
It's that good,
It is unbelievable, the Big Ten. Every team in the Big Ten is excellent. So last night, Penn State goes up against a really good Nebraska team. Nebraska's great. Wisconsin's great. Pitt is great. These teams are all great teams. So they're in the Final Four. I don't know. Pitt didn't make it, I guess. They're down 2-0, Penn State last night. And they rally. The girls rally. They win 25-23. That's overtime, by the way. They win 28-26. That's overtime to get to the deciding 5th set, which only goes up to 15, and they win 15-13 to put them in the national championship game against Louisville.
Riveting. I think we should spend the whole 11 o'clock hour on women's volleyball.
Sean, have you ever watched women's volleyball?
Yes, my sister played Division III. She just finished up Montclair State, and
well, then you know how good that volleyball is.
Yes.
These girls, they're all 6 foot and up.
They are athletes,
They're all life athletes. They all get up. They smash the ball. I don't know how they do it. These girls are so skilled with their digs. Like, somebody comes over top and smashes one in what looks like open territory, and this girl will dive with her forearms out for a dig to get it back up in the air. It's amazing to me.
They are athletes. That is for sure. So, well, at least Penn State maybe can win a national title in one sport.
And a local
football.
Yeah, but a local school too for volleyball. Princeton usually pretty good as well.
Princeton.
They're not as good, but
Come on, those Ivy League girls. They spend too much time in the classroom.
Would you consider Princeton a local school? Being up in Princeton, it's kind of like that's like the cutoff right there. That's the true Central Jersey. When people say Central Jersey doesn't exist, Princeton is right in the middle. I think that's the Mason Dixon.
I wouldn't consider that a Philly school.
No, it's not a Philly school.
No, because Penn, has already staked their flag.
So that's what you did last night, though? You were on the edge of your seat watching women's volleyball?
I actually did not watch it. I forgot. But my buddy.
Oh, you were watching the Aaron Rodgers documentary.
I was watching the Aaron Rodgers documentary. I can't believe I forgot about that this was going on. But my buddy says, unbelievable PSU volleyball game last night against Nebraska. What a comeback after being down 2-0. And I go, oh, stop. I forgot about that. I didn't say it. I said,
yeah, that was a growl. That was a growl.
Yeah, it was a growl. And so I missed it. I watched the Aaron Rodgers. Wasted my time watching Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to think, why would I do that? Why would I put that documentary on? I have no interest in the guy. Well, why would I
was
do
going to
that?
watch it, too.
Is it just because it was a sports thing?
Well, it's supposed to be interesting, right? He does, like, hallucinogenics and stuff, right?
I didn't even get to that part. Like the whole first hour was the sob story about him tearing his Achilles tendon, and the work he had to go through to get back, and the sob story how he's feeling sorry for himself. And
yeah, I think I would probably turn that off. I don't know, man. Yeah, I was going to watch it too, but I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't get that far with the hallucinogenics.
But you brought up Aaron Rodgers because we were looking at these quarterback rankings that this guy Nick Shook did on NFL.com. And somehow he's got Jalen 14. He's got Russell Wilson above him. He's got Jaden Daniels 6. I know you said that, but that blows my mind. But I just looked him up. He's been contributing to the NFL.com since 2014. But this is the part that gets me. He also makes occasional appearances on the Around the NFL podcast and gets more excited about a pulling guard than a kid on Christmas. That's what his profile says.
He's a football nerd. But that doesn't mean he knows anything.
Yeah, he's a football nerd.
He put Jalen Hurts 14. He doesn't know squat.
I don't know how you could put Jalen Hurts that low.
It's ridiculous. Kenny in Medford joins us. What's up, Kenny?
Hey, Mike. Thanks for taking my call.
How you doing, buddy?
Lee Green. I'm doing good, man. Hey, I think Eagles are firing on all cylinders. Their defense is playing great. I was a little bit worried about the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts last week. But I think with that controversy, they really showed up, and the team's playing great, man. And I'm seeing another Broad Street celebration this January.
You're seeing it, huh? You're seeing Super Bowl dub.
I'm seeing Super Bowl dub, absolutely.
All right. I hope you're right. Again, I can't fast forward and go, they're going to beat whoever comes out of the AFC. I would have to see that game first, see who they're going to play, how both teams are playing, the whole bit. But I am totally convinced that they need to go to the Super Bowl. They can't not now win the NFC. It's just that would be a colossal disappointment. Once they've set themselves up as the best team in this conference, and you believe that's to be true, right, Kenny?
I do. I believe it to be true for sure, man. And I think our song "Bleed Green" that we dropped is they're undefeated since we released this song. It's the ultimate hype song for the team. And
do we have that Bleed Green song?
I'll check. I'm not
released?
sure.
Well,
I think you guys do have it. But
wait, who released it? Kenny did? You did?
Yeah, Kenny. This is the first we're hearing about this. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it's a song. I'm a singer-songwriter and traveled to Nashville a lot. I co-wrote the song with my buddy Al, Ryan, and Holden, and we're all big sports fans in the Philadelphia area. And so we wrote this song for the team. We have all the most of the teams' names in there. Then we went to the in the middle of the song we gave a shout out to a lot of the older players like Reggie White.
Oh man, we got to get this.
Brandon Grant.
Can you email this to us right now?
I think I got it.
Austin's
got
on
it
right now.
I think I got it on YouTube, Kenny. Was it featuring Ryan Fisk?
Yeah, that's right.
All right,
That's
I
the
got
one.
it on
right,
YouTube.
well,
And we got over like 300,000 streams on all the socials. We got the Philly sports guy in it. It's starting to blow up. We just got interviewed by CBS Philly yesterday. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic, man! I thought we're gonna play that. We're gonna get it. We're gonna play
into
it.
the stadium.
All right,
So
buddy.
you guys, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, Kenny. All right, we're gonna play that.
I like it.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it.
Either did I.
We were unaware.
I'm glad he called in.
All right, so we'll take a break. We'll come back, and we may have that song ready, but we also have your calls at 610-622-0975. We got some text. And coming up in about, 15 minutes or so, our picks for the week, the Mike Missanelli Show. John Clark will join us at 12. Bill's out. We're back after this. previous regime, and people weren't that impressed. Yeah, when I did the NBC Sports Philly, Dan Roach over there, Booney, didn't think like he's a singer. He didn't think my man here for Cold War Kids. Yeah,
He wasn't impressed with
No, he wasn't. I think the guy wails. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's no Sirianni love. But.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of tunes, do we have our tune?
Austin is just double checking there's no curses in it real quick. So just
okay.
need one more minute.
We're checking on whether I don't think there are any curses. This is like a country song. It's a sweet song. Yeah, we just vibed it during the break.
We were listening a little bit. Pretty good. Nice music video going with it, too.
All right. In the meantime, let's just go to the text board. Sean Rodman in today for Ray Dunn. Let's get the text on the Eagles' best defense, which a lot of people resent because they are so intoxicated and in love with the previous defenses that we've had here.
So no name on this texter, but someone checking in says, when comparing defenses, shouldn't their respective offenses be handicapped? 91 offenses couldn't stay on the field.
It's a good point. It's a good point. The 91 offense was terrible. So, yeah, that puts a lot of strain on the defense. But statistically, this defense could do something that only two prior teams have ever done. Finished one in both categories.
I don't want to shortchange the Reggie White defense because it was my favorite defense and probably my favorite team of all time. So I don't want to disparage that. If people think that's the best defense, that's fine. They had studs on that defense, and here they don't have studs. They're just a collective.
They are. But you're right. You get people.
One stud. The rookie corner's a stud.
Yeah, Jalen Carter's a stud.
And
Zach Bond, maybe. I mean, we've only seen it for a season, but he looks like
about that. Yeah, pedigree. Jalen Carter, Quinion Mitchell.
Yeah.
And maybe Cooper.
Yeah, we'll have to see more. But you're right. You ruffle people's feathers. Like, they posted this video on Twitter of me saying this could be the greatest defense in franchise history statistically. And then Delco Pete writes underneath, no. 1991, Reggie, Clyde, Jerome, Seth, Eric Allen, Andre Waters, Hopkins. I know, I get it. We've talked about that. But statistically is what we're talking about. They can do something that's only been done in 1981 and 1949, just to show. But coming off of a season, Mike, where you were 30th and 26th in those categories, and we had that caller call earlier saying, he called us before the season started saying hopefully they could get to the middle of the pack. I mean, the fact that we're talking about doing something that hasn't been done since 81, was that 43 years now?
Yeah.
It's pretty wild, man.
Yeah. All right, one more text for Bill. We have a text for Bill. We always have text for Bill.
Yes.
Bill leads the world in texts.
This is our friend Dawood from the Northeast. He says, tell
Dawood.
Bill we excuse him for the mispronunciation. We all know his mouth is probably full with either Kodiak protein pancakes, Kind bars, or protein powder of some sort.
You know what I love about those texts? It just shows that they're avid listeners. They know I like my Kodiak pancakes. They know I like my protein bars. I appreciate it.
Bill, though, today is if you notice, Bill is not wearing the tight skin shirt today. He's wearing he's wearing kind of a looser fitting sweatshirt today.
Now, yesterday's shirt was a large. This shirt is a large. I always go large. It's not my fault that sometimes the shirt isn't made for someone of my stature.
Stop it. You wear the stretchy shirts that cling to the skin for reasons that are very clear.
They do. They are very clingy.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, Mike.
Yeah.
Why are we so like you get? And it's not just you. When people exercise, why is it okay to make fun of them for being in shape, or you God forbid you wear a shirt that's a little bit clingy? It's like. You work hard. You want to show it. It's not just me. There's people out there. We've had this conversation.
It's very showy. Look at me. I'm muscle man. That's what it is.
Yeah, but you want me to go out of my way to buy shirts that don't show. Like, if I buy a large and the shirt just happens to be a little clingy on the arms, that's not my fault.
Did you wear this shirt because everyone was making fun of you yesterday for the tight shirt yesterday?
No, I wore it because it was comfortable and it was a little. I didn't feel like wearing a jacket today because it wasn't cold enough for a jacket. So
You're showing up at your daughter's school with that sweatshirt.
Should I not? Should I go home and get
Jesus?
Changed? Should I throw on the clingy? Should I go throw on a clingy outfit instead?
I mean, it almost looks like it would have a bleach stain on it or something.
It's a nice sweatshirt, Mike.
Yeah, it's nice. All right. Let's go back to
Mike's rocking the
text board.
the Tally Vineyard shirt
Tally
today.
Vineyard today, yeah. The vineyard. Get the vineyard going.
I like it.
Thank you.
Wait, but is it? I always get confused.
This was handmade by my man, Kaz Ferrante, who's a big listener of the show.
But I get confused. Is it now Natali Vineyards or is it now Briganti on the Bay?
It's Briganti on the Bay, but it can also on the website you can go. Natali Vineyard will lead you to the.
We'll lead you there, but the new
place.
name, the new brand is all Briganti on the Bay.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not privy to those high level decisions. You know, they only call me when they need the grapes picked. All right, let's go to the phones. Tom in Norristown. Tom, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Tom?
Hey, Mike. Glad to hear your voice back on the airwaves.
Thanks, buddy.
The defense. I was a little hesitant back in the beginning of the year to go out on a limb and say, 11, 12, 13 wins because I wasn't sure what this defense was going to do. But I have been very impressed throughout the year. They just seem to get better each week. And the scary part about it is that they can even get better. Comparing them to the 91 defense, though, you got to. The one thing people seem to forget about that 91 season is that our defense was on the field the entire game, and if our defense didn't score, we usually didn't win. I remember sitting there that year. I need two hands to count how many quarterbacks we went through in that one given year, and they were desperate. They bring in guys, they'd last 1 or 2 weeks, and then we'd have to bring in the new guy. It was a very frustrating year on the offensive side of the ball that year. But that defense is one of the best defenses the NFL has ever seen, with just the way they came out and they dominated.
Yeah, well, they played right into the Philadelphia mentality, too, because they were aggressive, they were ferocious. When they hit, the body bag game is a typical example.
Well, it's a different game now, like you said. But this defense that we are watching right now are taking the steps necessary to become a very dominant defense. And the scary part about it is that they're all mostly kids. Other than Slay, they're all, very young guys that can play together for a very long time and could be a very dominant team. And who knows? Maybe in a few years we'll be talking about the Eagles winning their third Super Bowl in a row.
Yeah, let me ask you a question about that team. Wasn't that the year where they went to Houston, and Houston they were billed as the house?
Oh yeah, the House of Pain.
The House of Pain. Right. So they go down there, and the Eagles housed them. Right. And after the game, Jerome Brown goes, they had the house. We brought the pain.
Absolutely.
That was a Monday night
game. Was it the Monday night game?
Yeah, it was a Monday night.
Monday night game. And one of the other famous quotes was after Buddy Ryan beat the Cowboys after the fake kneel down when they asked him if he opened a can of worm, and he said, "No, I just put a lid on it for a while." That defense was not good, but they were very spunky and, they took after Buddy Ryan.
Yeah, I hear you. That's a good call, man.
What happened on the offensive side of the ball?
Who was actually a defensive coordinator, though? Do you remember?
I don't even remember.
Oh, it was Bud Carson.
Bud Carson
was the defensive coordinator, who was a man after Buddy's heart. So he technically was the defensive coordinator on that team. But he is absolutely right. Let's take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to run down the quarterbacks that had to play for the Eagles that year, including a guy I have very a vivid remembrance of this guy who had to start, I think, a couple of games. They had two guys that started 2 games apiece that year because Randall went down in game 1 of that season.
Yeah, it's a good memory. I got them in front of me.
610-632-0975. We'll play the song, and this is the home stretch for Bill. So climb in. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
It's a football Friday. I'm Sean Rodman, and this update is brought to you by Macy's. Macy's Backstage has amazing deals on the holidays. Most fun gifts, get low prices every day on unique finds in store only at Macy's Backstage. Find a location near you at macysbackstage.com. Off price, on trend, arriving daily. And, well, the Eagles can make it a division wrap-up this weekend if they beat the Commanders. And Commanders running back Brian Robinson thinks otherwise. He said earlier in the week that he believes they are the better team down in D.C. But according to Washington's radio play-by-play announcer Bram Meinstein, some Commander fans may feel a little bit differently.
So I think it's really interesting. I'm not completely standing behind what Brian Robinson said, but I think Washington can win. And I don't know that I would expect them to, but I think they can. I keep hearing things like, well, if they just win one of the next three or definitively two of the next three, then this game this weekend doesn't matter.
You can listen to the full interview with Bram Weinstein on 975thefanatic.com. Coming up at 11:40, Nick Sirianni will speak to the media, or unless he wants to come a little bit later, he will do a little bit later then. ESPN's Tim McManus will join us at 1 as well to preview the Commanders. Sixers host the Charlotte Hornets tonight, and Joel Embiid is listed as questionable. According to Keith Pompey, Caleb Martin will remain out with a right shoulder injury. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
interesting part of the Aaron Rodgers documentary. He really wasn't heavily recruited out of high school. And so he didn't have a Division I program. I didn't realize that he went to Boot Community College.
I didn't know that either.
And he spent a year there.
Before going to Cal.
And then he went to Cal, but he wasn't even highly recruited at Boot. So he went to Cal because he's from that area, right? He's from Chico, California. Boot is the local college there. And the Jeff Tedford, who was the coach at Cal, showed up one day to see him work out, and he had like his best throwing day. So that's how he wound up at Cal. But you know who he played with at Cal?
Who?
Marshawn Lynch.
Did he really?
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch was his go-to guy.
Yeah, I didn't remember that.
Remember Marshawn Lynch driving around the cart? I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers was on that team. He was driving around. He took the cart and started driving it.
He was on that team. So he spent 2
Yes.
years there. And then it was interesting because that people really didn't, they passed on him in the draft. Do you remember that, right?
I do. I remember him
He was
falling.
selected 24th, and he was saying, I'm definitely going top 5. He was all cocky about his ability. And John Gruden had told him, if you're there at 5, we're taking you. They didn't take him. They took a running back. The 2 running backs from Auburn went in the top 5 that year. You remember who they were?
Well, let me see if I can remember. One
played for the Eagles.
Yeah, one of them ended up playing for the Eagles, and I can't remember.
Ronnie Brown. And Cadillac Williams.
I was going to say one of them had a nickname.
Yeah, Cadillac went 5th. So Gruden lied to him.
Yeah, Cadillac went to Tampa, and Ronnie Brown went to Miami?
Yes. No, Ronnie Brown went to Tampa. No,
Cadillac Williams went to Tampa.
Oh, he did. Okay.
And I think Ronnie Brown went to Miami.
Second pick in the draft.
Because Ronnie Brown,
The first pick was who? Quarterback.
in that draft, 02?
Yeah. Utah.
I got it.
Who is it, Sean?
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith was the
Oh,
number one
that's
pick in the
right.
draft. Rodgers thought that he was better than Alex Smith. That he
And he
should
was right. He was better.
Should have gone 1 instead. And then they took Alex Smith.
Yeah, I remember they kept showing Aaron Rodgers in the green room that year because he kept falling and falling.
Yes.
And then it worked out for him going to Green Bay and sitting behind
Well, it
Favre.
didn't work out for him right away because Favre big-timed him.
Yeah, he did.
He had to suck up to Favre to get his acceptance. You remember Favre said, I'm not here to teach Aaron Rodgers how to play. Right? He had a terrible relationship with him.
Yes, he did. Well, then, I don't know, Rodgers did kind of something not similar to Love.
But then, you know what happened? Favre retired. So they tell Aaron Rodgers that he's the starter. Favre decides to come back.
Yeah, I'm not going to retire.
Yes.
And then he goes to the Jets.
He comes back, and then they have to make a decision. So they said, we're going with Aaron. And that's when they peddled him to the Jets.
Which was the right decision.
Yeah, probably, I guess.
Aaron Rodgers was a stud.
Well, I don't think it was widely popular in Green Bay when they made that move. Favre was the guy.
Maybe not initially, but I think they were all right with it once they won the Super Bowl.
All right, speaking of quarterbacks, in 1991, Randall gets hurt game 1 against, ironically, the Packers. He got hit by a defensive end named Bryce Pop when he was stationary. His leg was stationary. Pop hit him right in the knee. Boom. End of season. The quarterbacks that then came in, Jim McMahon started 11 games. Jeff Kemp started 2 games. And Brad Gable from Baylor started 2 games, played in 5. They even signed, and he played, Pat Ryan off the scrap heap, former Jets quarterback. Oh, my God.
See, now, I don't remember because I was only 7. 4 pass attempts for Randall that year, and then his season's over.
It was early in the game.
Yeah, that's
that he got demolished.
terrible.
And so, but now let's look at their personnel wasn't that bad. They just didn't have a quarterback. Fred Barnett, Keith Byers, Keith Jackson, Heath Sherman, Calvin Williams. Who was the tight end? I don't know who the tight end.
It was Keith Jackson.
Oh, that's right, Keith Jackson. But Mickey Schuler was like a backup tight end. Kenny Jackson played 16 games.
No, they didn't have a bad personnel.
Roy Green. Oh, my God. Roy Green, they had signed at age 34. Yeah, they were a mess offensively. So, yeah, when you look at that defense, I guess you can take points off of this defense because that defense didn't have an offense to sustain them.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're comparing the defenses, not statistically, 91. But the point I was making was statistically, this team can do something that even the 91 team couldn't do, and that's finish one in both yards against and points against. You've only seen that twice. You got to go back to 81 and 49.
Robert Drummond was a backup running back.
I don't remember these names, man.
The punter was Jeff Feagles. Remember Jeff Feagles?
Jeff Feagles plays for the Eagles. There's no better name for an Eagle. No better name.
Heath Sherman and James Joseph were their main running backs. James Joseph.
But they had Keith Byers, too.
Yeah, but he was more of a receiver.
Yeah, he had 94 carries that year for 383. He had 62 catches for 564.
Let's go to Greg in Bethlehem. Greg, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Greg. Yo, Greg.
Gentlemen,
how are you?
I'm sorry. It took me a little bit. I had to put my Matt Alf down and.
Hold on a second. Unfortunately for you, Greg, we'll get to you, but higher priority. Nick Sirianni is at the podium.
His knee injury happened in practice, or was that something from the game?
Yeah, he was limited yesterday. We'll see how it is today.
Was it a practice thing, or was it the game?
He was limited. Yeah, he was limited yesterday.
Well, he didn't enter the practices with any status, so.
You guys can figure that out.
So, did he finish practice?
He was limited.
Last time you played Washington, it was a short week. This time, you get the full process. Does that affect anything in either way?
Every time you go in and play a team a second time, you have different things that you go about looking for. It's a unique week, very similar to a Monday night game, very similar to a Thursday night game, very similar to a Thanksgiving Day game opener coming off a bye week. You try, you're presented with a lot of different things on a schedule, with different types of schedules, and so you kind of go through your checklist of things that you do on those. We had that this week. Again, just very similar to how you go through a Thursday night game. And so, but it was our normal week process with those extra additions of second time playing a team.
Sorry, with AJ, is he going to be out on the field today?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes when we get out there.
Nick, what is it about Vic Fangio that's allowed him, as one of the oldest defensive coordinators in the league, to connect with some of you young players on defense so well?
Yeah, I think the thing is with highly motivated players like we have, I mean, the thirst for knowledge is huge, right? And so these guys are motivated. They see that Vic can help them get better, and that's where a relationship can start. And Vic's done a great job connecting with our guys, putting our guys in positions to succeed, helping our guys play well. Our guys have played well. So it's a true group effort. And like I said, I can't say enough good things about Vic and all the things that he's brought to our football team, and the way he's doing, leading our defense.
What are some of the ways that what are some of the ways your defense has grown just in the last couple of weeks, Nick?
Yeah, again, I think we've been playing really good football for, the last 10 weeks or so. Even before we got on our winning streak, I thought our defense was doing a really good job as well. We continue to get better at our fundamentals. We continue to be on the same page. We continue to play with relentless effort, and I think we're just getting a little bit better each week.
This time of year, I imagine you're not just thinking about a 17-game season, but 20, 21 games potentially. Are you at the point of monitoring the snaps of some of the key players as you get down the stretch?
We got to do what we got to do to win each and every game. We're focused on Washington. We'll do whatever we need to do to win Washington. Everything else is out of our control. As far as that goes, as far as anything else goes, our job is to focus on Washington. We'll take this week. That way, we'll take next week the way we need to take that week. But all our focus is on Washington and the things that we need to do to win this football game against a good football team.
Seems like there's very little conversation. Go ahead.
Nick, the team put out a video of you emphasizing to the team the tough detail together. You have it on your shirt there. Is that something all year you've emphasized, or you just now decided on that message and why at this point?
I think at the end of the day, it's been something we've emphasized since 2021. It's just a simpler way to say our core values and kind of chunk them all together. Like football IQ and fundamentals are detail, right? And the things that go into that. Toughness is, we talk about that within, and compete. Together is connect. So it's just a different way of saying it, to be quite honest with you. So it's really something that's been a message that we've been talking a lot about for the last 4 years, just a catchier way to say it, I guess, to say, and with TDT.
Seems like there's very little talk about the NFC's title in the locker room from what we've gathered. And what do you make of that and how it speaks to the team's mentality?
Yeah, just that we're going about our business to try to win this football game. We know what that means if we win this football game. But our goal is to just continue to get better each and every week, focus on the things that we can control. Just like kind of when we made the playoffs, we said, all right, let's go. Congratulations. As long as it lasted, let's go and see how we can get better from this. And that'll be the same conversation. We'll congratulate each other when we have that opportunity to do so, and then we'll move on and get better.
Was it different from 2 years ago when you guys won the NFC East for the first?
I think we had that same mindset, Martin, back then. That it was the exact same mindset. We enjoyed it for the moment, and then we were ready to move on.
Is Bryce's injury one that requires a ramp-up period to the same degree of a lower body injury?
Yeah, again, it's anytime you're getting back and recovering from something, it's always going to take a ramp up. Every situation's a little different. Every guy's a little different. We'll see how that goes.
A couple more?
Earlier, when it comes to Saquon, in the Giants game, there was that video you asked him, you want to go for your single game record. We'll know more about his pace, obviously, after today's this weekend's game. But if he wants to go for the record, where does that kind of fall in line to, maybe you wanting to rest guys or him wanting the record?
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We're focused on winning this game and what we need to do to win this game. I know. I'm sorry, guys. I want to be respectful of your questions and answer your questions, but we're boring. Our sole focus is how we get better today at practice. Laser focus through everything. Laser focus at practice. We need a great day of practice today to help us win this football game against a very good football team. So that's all we're thinking about. That's all we're focused about. I know that doesn't make for a great story, but our locked-in focus is here, and the more you think about things that are out of your control, the less you're going to think about the things that are in your control. And so we got to have a great red zone day today, and then recapping the rest of the week, play with great fundamentals out there today, handle the elements out there today because the game's going to be cold. The more we can get out there in situations like this, the better it's going to be for us. And that's all our focus is.
All right.
All right, there you go. That is Nick Sirianni. And we'll talk a little bit more about that at the 12 o'clock hour. But, Bill, we were remiss to do our selection. So before you leave here, we've got to get our fearless selections as we go into the break. So you're on a roll. So you go first. What are your NFL selections?
All right, here we go. Yeah, after another 2-1 weekend, I'm up to 31-14 on the season. So listen up, everybody. All right, here we go. Let's start in Seattle. We got the Minnesota Vikings, winners of 7 straight, going on the road to take on the 12th man in the Seattle Seahawks. And fortunately, Geno Smith will be playing in that game. I'm taking Seattle and the 3 points. I don't know if they win it outright, but I think it's going to be a close game. I'm taking the Seahawks.
Ooh,
+3.
A line move on that. The Vikings went from +2 to favored -3, a 5-point line move in the Vikings' favor. Just saying.
I know you don't like it. All right, let's go to the next one. We got a big AFC North matchup. The Pittsburgh Steelers, after losing to the Philadelphia Eagles, go on the road. Second week in a row of a road game, tough opponent in Baltimore. This is for the AFC North. You got the Steelers at 10-4, the Ravens at 9-5. I'm taking the Ravens to cover. They're favored by 6.5, but I think the Ravens dominate the Pittsburgh Steelers. Take the Ravens -6.5.
That's a Ravens line. That's a good selection.
All right, now for my lock of the week, which is brought to us by who?
McCausland Lock Service. If you got a problem with a car key or remote, go right there to where the dealers go. McCausland Lock Service.
Love it. And everyone is going to love me picking this one because the Detroit Lions, man, they're going to be running wild in Chicago, man. I'm taking the Detroit Lions. -6.5 coming off a loss to the Buffalo Bills, taking on the Bears, who have lost 8 in a row.
Oh, my God.
The Bears don't have the firepower. Dan Campbell, coach of the year.
Look at you.
-6.5.
Patronizing the Lions. All right, that's Bill's selection. Let me go with the following 3. I'm going to go 2 line moves here. First of all, let me start in college. I got the Ohio State Buckeyes. I hate to do it because I hate them. 7.5-point favorites against Tennessee. That's a line telling me a little something. I think the Buckeyes win at home and cover to 7.5. Let's go to the pro picks. I am going to go with the Bucks, the Tampa Bay Bucks, who have gone from +4 in this game at the Cowboys to -4. They're a 4-point favorite. I like it. I think the Bucks are primed to smoke them. And here's another line move that got my attention, and this is my lock of the week. The Green Bay Packers started out at -5 against the Saints. They have zoomed up to chilly Lambeau Field to -14. Oh, my God.
Wow.
They're going to smoke the Saints. I'll take the Packers -14. I'll take the Bucks -4. And I'll take Ohio State -7.5. And they are our selections for the week. Bill, nice being with you.
Yes, I got to get over to my daughter, Melina, and Leo's in it, too. I keep saying my daughter. My 5-year-old son is also in the play.
There you go.
So I'm going there. Everybody have a great weekend. Go Birds. I'll be on the air Sunday morning leading you into the Eagles game. So make sure you tune in.
Circus Day Kids Play. Bill's going to.
This may be a circus.
Johnny Clark will join us after the break on the Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
It's a Football Friday. I'm Sean Rodman, and this update is brought to you by Groundworks, your expert for basement waterproofing and foundation repairs since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. The Birds can clinch the division this weekend with a win over the Commanders, and a lot of questions around health regarding the Eagles, one being A.J. Brown. Nick Sirianni just spoke to the media and told us that A.J. Brown will be out at practice on the field, but we'll see if he'll be able to be a full participant today. That'll be podcasted later on our website, 975thefanatic.com. John Clark joins us 12 to 2 now that Bill is leaving with us, and ESPN's Tim McManus will join us at 1 as well to preview the Commanders. Sixers host the Charlotte Hornets tonight, and Joel Embiid is listed as questionable. At practice yesterday, Andre Drummond told the media, quote, "I'm sure Joel Embiid will be back tomorrow too." And according to Keith Pompey and Caleb Martin will remain out today with a right shoulder injury. The Phillies have made a move. Team signed outfielder Max Kepler to a 1-year, $10 million deal. And this update is also brought to you by Indeed.com. Make sure hiring processes work for you with Indeed's end-to-end hiring solutions. You can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Mike Missanelli Show, and the 12 o'clock hour is brought to you by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning. 0% financing for 72 months, $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at servicefirsthvac.com. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time to introduce our special guest for the next 2 hours, doing a little sports talk radio in addition to his 700 other responsibilities as the main focus at NBC Sports Philadelphia, covering the Eagles. The one and only, and we were talking about this yesterday, you're in the top 5 of all famous Temple-produced sports TV media people. John Clark joins us. Johnny!
Good to see you, Mikey Miss. I love how you keep narrowing it down. Top 5. I was like, wow, top 5. And then you're like, Temple and
top 5 Temple. Where would you rank yourself on the top 5? See, Gandhi with the national profile, and I know you were a classmate of his. We had to go. You know, if you talk old school, you got Merrill, you got Zumoff, and you get into Gandhi, you got you. Who else do we have in there?
It's a great question. I remember Billy Vargas from Fox.
Bill
29.
Vargas?
Billy
I don't
V.
think Billy V makes the top 5 cut.
I'm not here to rank us from Temple, and you're pitting us against each other at Temple already.
Temple versus Temple crime. But listen, you have been all over the place this year. It's funny because you covering the Eagles like you do. You got to be at the practices. You got to be at every press conference. You got to travel with the team. You got to file a report. It's a busy time for you, man. How do you handle it all?
Oh, I come in on my days off to be with you, Mikey Miss, for 2 hours. Where would I want to be today? You can't golf today. It's too cold. I'll be honest, this time of year, I love working because it's too cold out to do anything. Now, in the summertime, when it's nice, you can get out and play some tennis and golf. You know, take some days off. But this is grind, you know, because the city is on fire right now.
Yes, it is.
Like there is so much hope in the city of Philly, and that is my favorite time of year when there's so much hope about a team.
Look at you.
Getting it done.
That's why you're Johnny Sunshine. Because you're always filled with hope.
Even when there's no sunshine out there.
And positivity. Right?
Except with the Sixers.
No, let's keep with this Eagles theme because I'm on record. I'm a hard sell. But from what I've seen, there is no way on earth that they should not win the NFC. I think they're the best team in the NFC, and it doesn't matter if they have to go to Detroit or Minnesota for that NFC title game. So I was saying the other day, now they have set us up. To me, it would be a colossal disappointment if they did not get to the big game. Now, I'm not predicting the big game. I don't know how that would fare. I'm telling you right now in the NFC, it would be a terrible disappointment having the best team playing the way they're playing with the defense that they have for them not to win the NFC. Am I accurate?
Colossal disappointment.
Colossal would be one of the top 5 disappointments of all time.
So wait. We could get into top 5s there because there's been many in Philly. But let's say you go to Detroit, NFC title game. Let's say you lose 42-39. Is that a colossal disappointment?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I wouldn't say colossal disappointment.
Here's why.
Disappointment.
Because you would have given up 39 points.
Right.
Or 42 points.
Well, you're on the road in a dome with a good offense.
But this defense is the best in the league.
It is, but I want to caution you. I agree the Eagles' defense is the best in the league, but they have not played the elite teams. They haven't played the Bills or the Chiefs. They haven't played the Lions. I don't know if you consider the Vikings an elite team. They have an elite record.
Let's go.
They haven't played those teams.
Okay, let's go with this, though, because this is all projection. They have the best team. Would you agree? The Lions are beat to hell. They're not the same team. They have 13 players in injured reserve. They've given up 40-plus points in 2 straight weeks. I can't imagine that the Eagles, with that defense, wouldn't be able to go to Ford Field and win that game. You just poo-pooed the Vikings. I agree. The Vikings and the Packers aren't on that same level, nor are the Commanders. So there's one team we're looking at, and that's the team that's beat up. So you're telling me you wouldn't be colossally disappointed if they didn't win the NFC?
It's a great word you came up with this morning. Colossal. I'd be disappointed.
Horrible. The biggest of big.
Whoa. Let's
disappointment.
not get into the biggest of big. We're talking NFC title game 2001 against the Bucs. That is a colossal disappointment.
This would be right in line with that.
I don't know. It'd be a disappointment.
Was it a disappointment when they lost to Tampa Bay?
It was a colossal disappointment.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the best team in the NFC playing a beat-up team. You're telling me that wouldn't compare to them losing to Tampa Bay?
I need context about how it happens. If the Eagles were at home in the NFC title game and they lost to the Lions, that would be a colossal disappointment.
But you wouldn't
Colossal.
consider it a disappointment if they lost in Detroit.
Come on, you're an attorney. You heard me say it would be a disappointment, but not a colossal disappointment.
Oh, man, I can't imagine it wouldn't be a colossal disappointment. The way this team is stacked up right now against the Lions, when you look at both teams now maybe in the middle of the season, and I was saying I think the Lions are a little better. They're not better now.
I agree with that. I agree with that because of the injuries.
If they're not better now, how would you process a loss to them?
I'd be disappointed. But not colossal disappointment.
You wouldn't use the adjective?
Not colossal disappointment. Have you seen the Eagles against elite teams? Have you?
I don't have to.
You don't?
No,
How do you think they do against the Bills
I've seen them
right now?
I've seen them in 2 games where they dominated the Ravens and they dominated the Steelers. 2 very good teams that they should not have dominated, and yet they did.
I totally agree. And that's the most impressive thing to me is that they basically out AFC North, the AFC North. I mean, we were always talking about AFC North, Steelers, Ravens. They build their teams to be physical with each other. And you are exactly right. They are the bullies. They're the Broad Street bullies. They bullied those teams. However, I will say the Steelers were without George Pickens. Don't think it would have made a huge difference because the Eagles' defense and the Eagles' offense just completely out physical.
21 plays, 10-plus minutes.
Dude, I totally agree.
That's ridiculous.
I totally agree.
Okay.
And what's amazing to me is the Steelers team that came in here with Mike Tomlin. You could have said Rich Kotite was the coach of that team the way they played. Like, that was not a Mike Tomlin team. And the Eagles made them that way. That's what's so impressive is that the Eagles have bullied every team in the NFL. But I haven't seen them against the Bills, haven't seen them against the Chiefs, haven't seen them against the Lions.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. You've been in this town for a long time, and I think you are tainted by Philadelphia caution. You know what Philadelphia caution is?
Oh, yeah.
Philadelphia caution is not committing. You can't commit because if you commit and they lose, it's a total disappointment.
Your heart gets broken.
That's what you're doing to me now.
No, you know what I do in my life? Because I don't want to disappoint people myself, so I lower expectations so you can really impress people more than, expectations is everything.
So it's a mental strategy.
Absolutely. Lower expectations going. If you build yourself up to see a great movie and you go to the movie and you're like, that wasn't that good, it's because of your expectations. I will tell you, I expect this team to go to the Super Bowl at this point. But if they happen to lose in Detroit, close game, something happens, I wouldn't be colossally disappointed.
Oh, my God. I am just the opposite. I have been convinced. See, here's what I do. I'm very pragmatic. I look at a team, and I'll rip them down and knock them down. I'll do all these things when I see flaws. When I see a good team, I go, that's all I needed. It's all right. You built that team to be the best possible team. You built this team to be the best team in the NFC. Right now, they are the best team in the NFC. If they were not to carry that forth to the Super Bowl, I would be tremendously devastated.
Well, I'm not gonna.
It doesn't make any sense for me to say, well, if they lose in Detroit, it'd be disappointing, but it wouldn't be. It would be tremendously disappointing.
It would be disappointing, but I'm putting up the caution tape. You're right. I do have the Philly caution.
You got the Philly caution thing.
Yeah, I agree. Don't want to be hurt again. A lot of wounds. If you're talking top 5 disappointments, there's no way it would be in there.
When you do that, aren't you holding yourself back from appreciation?
Oh, no. I am
yes,
appreciating this.
You're holding yourself back.
Oh, this is therapy.
You are. You're holding yourself back.
No, I appreciate this ride, and that's my whole thing. Enjoy this ride.
See, obviously, we have 2 different jobs. I could come over here and be an ass and say, if they don't get to the Super Bowl, it's tremendously disappointing. You can't do that because you're a TV guy. You got to kind of stay in the middle, right?
Yeah. TV guys, listen, when you're on TV, you are appealing to the masses. Mm-hmm. A grandmother, my grandmother could be at home watching. You could have, people who aren't even interested in sports. You don't need to be negative, Nancy, or you come out there colossal disappointment.
So you don't have to be overly positive, Nancy, either?
Well, that's just the way
wouldn't that play into it, the overly positive Nancy? Yes, I fully expect this team will go to the Super Bowl. If you said that,
I do.
What's the peril?
I just said, Mike, you don't even listen to me.
I am listening
You're
to
an
you.
attorney.
You're saying
you're an
it wouldn't
attorney
be
and you don't listen to the witness.
No, that's true.
I have said it would be a disappointment, and I said I expect him to go to the Super Bowl at this point.
But you would not be devastated.
Devastated? No. Were you devastated 2 years ago when they lost to the Chiefs, the way they
No,
lost?
because the Chiefs, in my opinion, were a pedigree team that you could lose to. When you go, the Lions aren't a pedigree team at this point. So if you lose to a non-pedigree team, I've never been disappointed when they've lost in the Super Bowl. Like, I wasn't even disappointed when they lost to the Patriots because I said, they're the Patriots. They lost to the Chiefs. I said, they're the Chiefs. I can't be disappointed at that. But if they lost to the Lions, I would be terribly disappointed.
Right, but okay, in that loss to the Chiefs, you take the 7 points of the fumble return for the touchdown that the Chiefs got, but that is a legitimate difference in the game. So if that happened again, a play like that, you're going to be colossally disappointed?
Yes, because the team I can accept when they lose to the Chiefs. I can't accept them losing to the Lions. Just like I couldn't accept the Phillies losing to the Arizona frickin' Diamondbacks.
No, that was a colossal disappointment.
Okay.
That was a colossal disappointment.
This is what I put in perspective. If they lose to the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl, I wouldn't be disappointed. If they lost to the Chiefs, I wouldn't be disappointed because those teams are pedigree teams. You cannot lose to the Lions at this point. If the Lions were the old Lions, maybe I wouldn't be colossally disappointed. You see, I'm very pragmatic. I've measured it all out.
Yeah, but see, I'll be honest. I'm not even thinking about that right now. I'm enjoying this ride. I'm enjoying watching. Mike, this 10-game winning streak is amazing because I said to myself, you know what? They're going to lose to the Ravens. Coming off that game against the Rams, that could be a loss. Or the Steelers. The Steelers obviously had George Pickens out. But they have won every step of the way. They've passed every single
then of course
test.
You have to take it to the next level. Yes, you have to take game by game. I know that's a coach speak. You have to take it to the next level. Where could this lead? Where it leads is the Super Bowl.
I just said I think and expect.
I'm going to break you down by the end of this show.
By the way, I've listened to you for years. You use no word more than pedigree.
I love pedigree.
You use that word more than any word I've ever heard.
I love a pedigree. 610-632-0975. Now, I've already teased John Clark is a Seinfeld expert, as am I. I watch it every day. It's on every day on Comedy Central. So this is how I decompress. Collectively, we've probably seen, 5,000 Seinfeld episodes.
At least. Several times.
All right, so if there's somebody out there that thinks you can stump us, we won a contest once. With the Seinfeld.
I'm out.
And our producer, Sean Rodman, in case no one has a question for us, he's got some questions for us that we will slay as well. All right?
See, I'm going to lower expectations and not say we're going to dominate this. Because I don't want to be colossally disappointed when I lose this contest.
We won a damn contest. What did we win? What did we win that day?
You know what's really funny, Mikey? Miss? When you said you won the contest, I'm thinking of the Seinfeld show contest episode.
Well, exactly. That's why I said we won a contest.
I'm out. That's it. I'm out.
Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Andrew Salciunas.
week. Pretty good one. An 8-hour flex adult lift ticket to Montage Mountain for just $40. That's located in Scranton. Montage Mountain offers unforgettable skiing and snowboarding thrills. 26 trails for all skill levels. Get this exclusive offer on our website while supplies last. 975fanatic.com/deals. You ski? Yeah, hit the on button there. Yeah. See, in radio, there's an on and an off.
See, I don't have to worry about that on TV.
I know.
They turn the
Your
cameras
producers
on.
take care of it. It's cameras on. You got to do some work here, some manual labor.
Damn, you didn't tell me that.
Are you a skier?
Not anymore, man. I don't like the cold. And I honestly go up to the Poconos to use the water slides on the mountains during the summer. Then you can take the ski lift up, the chair lift up for the water slides. I know I'm like 10 years old.
You are the most amazing tenure. Like you still boogie board at the shore.
It's called
you take
bodyboarding.
The water slides.
It's called bodyboarding.
I'm sorry, bodyboard. Well, listen,
I'm a child.
Stay young.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to debut a song that Kenny, who called in earlier, had recorded with his featuring Ryan Fisk, and they wrote a song called "Bleed Green." So we want to play it for people to review. It's got like a little country vibe to it, there, Sean.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, a little
vibe.
country vibe, John. I don't know, you a country man, country song man.
I've gotten more and more into country with
Yeah.
the Post Malone collabs and all that.
Oh, okay.
The collabs are great.
All right, so this is Kenny Curcio featuring Ryan Fisk with the song "Bleed Green."
Set the train for it's too late. Pull on up to the Jetro gate. Crack a cold one, pack a skull out of the cold. Smoke them ribs and dogs. Fill the base with the U's and y'alls. Ain't no race when the Migos call. In it to win it, who bleed green with the G-R-E-E-N. It's time to start again. It's time to give it 110%. We'll climb, we'll run, we'll fight like Rocky 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1. It takes one to know one. A brother in green that plays for a rerun of the 2018 St. Nick and the Phillies special raising the greatest victory of them all. I'm body surely proud of that call. Broad Street rocking wall to wall with Kelsey screaming hungry dog. Philadelphia, it's time to get loud. Let me hear you now. Philadelphia, it's a Philly thing. Let's go get that ring.
Wow, I kind of like it. What do you think?
That's impressive. That's impressive. I think it's a legit song.
It is a legit song. Yeah, country vibe. Got a little, like they started a little 21 Pilots type of hip hop. Get some rhyming in there.
Yeah. And you knew it was a country song as soon as he mentioned Skull showing up, right into the parking lot with the skull. I like it, Mike. I think that could catch on.
All right, so Ryan Fisk is he's a well-known guy. He's like a booker, band booker, but he's also a musician, and he performs.
I'd go see him. Is he performing in Philly?
I'm trying to figure out where he's performing.
I mean, Jason Kelsey is doing a late-night talk show. He could be bringing that guy in for his...
Thursdays, he's at Charlene's Pub. Where is that, in Deptford? Or where is that? Charlene's Pub. It's a Jersey joint. It's pretty famous. He's at McKenna's Pub, Mulligan, Philly Sports Bar. All right, so he's a performer.
That's great. It was great.
All right.
Charlene's Pub is in, where does it go? Westville, New Jersey.
Oh, it's in Westville, New Jersey. Yeah, it's a pretty famous place. All right, let's get to. We got Tim McManus coming up at 1 o'clock to talk about this game. Let's go to the phones because Greg from Bethlehem, he's like a regular caller. We had to interrupt Greg's call for some guy named Nick Sirianni. So here comes Greg back at us. Greg,
Hey.
what's going on, Greg? Sorry about that. Sirianni got that preference over you.
Oh, geez. Don't let it happen again.
I'm sorry. All right, go ahead.
I'm just, you gave me the opportunity to be 3 Mad Elves into the day.
Oh, okay, so Greg, now let's talk about this. Greg, in the last few calls, has been whacked on Mad Elf beer, which is like 12% alcohol, and he's day drinking.
12%.
12%.
What time did he start?
And so we had him on earlier before Sirianni. He didn't have now he's got 2 Mad Elves back in him.
Oh my goodness!
And he's slurring again. What's going on with your life, Greg? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm retired. I'm just relaxing and talking on the phone. But
Wait, how many have you had today?
2.5.
Wow. You know what?
Greg,
This is a better Friday than
I don't know what's going on with you, Greg. I don't know. Maybe you want to, curb that day drink a little bit.
It's a Friday, though, Mike.
Yeah, I get it.
Friday.
But it's Greg.
At least 3 days in a row.
Yeah, this is like three calls in a row for Greg, and normally he's not into the Mad Elf. But
you having an intervention at this point?
I don't know.
now?
I think
Are
we ought to
doing this?
intervene here. This is like Christopher
about Mad
Moltisanti.
Mad Elf is it's seasonal.
Yeah, I know what it is. I know what it is. My problem is why are you pounding Mad Elves during the daytime hours?
Well, I don't know if it's a solution for depression, but
well, it's not a solution for depression. It's the opposite.
You'll
make it worse.
I agree. Hey,
all right.
I called. It's unfortunate you didn't want to go to the Penn State game. I had spots in a box up there available, but you said you didn't want to go. So
what do you mean you had spots in a box? You didn't tell me. Wait, you had suite tickets?
Yeah.
You still have them?
No.
Oh, damn.
I don't know. This sounds fishy, Greg.
Wait, so basically you're preparing for the Penn State game right now. This is a long tailgate.
Yeah, I guess.
You got to pace yourself a little better.
Greg, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Eagles game? And you want my thoughts on the Penn State game?
Well,
Penn State wins the game; they don't cover.
I think the Eagles are going to win by 3.
Okay, so that means they won't cover.
Right.
Okay, so you're taking the Commanders with the hook.
Well, at that point, yeah, with the points, I would have to do that. I just don't. I think it's going to be a close-fought game.
Yeah.
I agree.
I was trying to figure out with Penn State.
Yeah.
Is it possible that Franklin can do the opposite of what he's done in the past
and win
to blow games? I mean, he just doesn't.
Yeah, they're better than SMU. They should win the game. It would be shocking to me if they lost the game. Now, will SMU stay close? Yeah, SMU will stay close. But by the fourth quarter, in 16-degree weather,
yeah, they're done.
No, man.
Wait,
I don't think it's going to happen.
Wait, so has my man? He's called in the last couple
Greg,
days.
Greg, I'm worried about Greg. Greg has been a regular caller for many years, and he usually is lucid. But the last 3 calls we've had, right? Sean's been listening. Sean is our producer today, but Ray Dunn is usually our producer. He's been hitting these Mad Elves.
Yeah, it may not be 3 days in a row, but definitely the last 3 calls.
3 calls in a row. Yes.
So is it just the seasonal beer, or is it?
I don't know. I don't know
different
what's going on with the man. The Mad Elf is 11.7% alcohol.
Woo! And you can't be drinking that in the morning like this.
Seriously, you go to a brewery and you get an IPA. Most of the time that you're going to top out at like 7.5.
Yeah.
Right? This guy is hitting the Mad Elves
in the morning.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on with Greg. I'm worried about him. If anybody knows Greg, please get in touch with us.
And is he going to the Penn State game or not? I didn't clarify. He has sweet.
Dude, I don't know what the last 3. I've been very confused about what he's talking about.
And were you ever given the actual invite of sweet?
No,
tickets
he
to
never
Penn State?
even mentioned that he had sweet tickets. So
after the fact,
I have no idea what's going on with him. All right, 610-632-0975. We'll get to our text board. We'll talk more about this game. We'll take a Seinfeld question from our man Sean Rodman, who's producing today, and see if he can stump us right out of the chute. The Mike Missanelli Show is on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
It's a Football Friday. I'm Sean Rodman, and this update is brought to you by the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. Did you know that driving under the influence of marijuana is illegal? Drive high, get a DUI. A message from the New Jersey Division of Highway Safety Patrol. The Birds can clinch the division this weekend with a win over the Commanders, and the Birds could be without A.J. Brown, but Nick Sirianni just spoke at the end of the 11 o'clock hour, and he told us that A.J. Brown will be out on the practice field, but we'll see if he will be a full participant. We'll find out later today whether he is on the injury report as a full participant or limited. ESPN's Tim McManus will join us at 1 to preview the Commanders. The Sixers host the Charlotte Hornets tonight, and Joel Embiid is listed as questionable at practice yesterday. Andre Drummond told the media, quote, "I'm sure Joel Embiid will be back tomorrow, too." And according to Keith Pompey, Caleb Martin will remain out with a right shoulder injury tonight. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:50. The Phillies have made a move. The team have signed outfielder Max Kepler on a one-year, $10 million deal. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Show 97.5 The Fanatic. Bill Colarulo doing the family thing today. Very nice. Bill is seeing his daughter in a Christmas play. Isn't that cute? So sliding in for Bill for the next hour and a half, and he's already spent an hour with us. He loves being here with us. John Clark from NBC Sports Philly.
I love it. And I appreciate the music you always play on the bump-ins. Who was that? Do you know? Stuff.
Yeah, that was who was that? It's
That
one of my
is
songs.
Calling After Me by the Wallows.
That's the Wallows.
Very good sound.
Yeah.
It's a banger, as the kids say.
It
It's
is.
a banger.
Yeah, I give the folks here a list of tunes for the. What do you call these? The comebacks. The returns.
Return music.
The
Return
return.
music
The
beds.
return music.
You got any killers lined up?
No Killers. I'm not a Killers fan. We've had this discussion before.
Oh, man. I'm colossally disappointed by that, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I know you're a Killers guy. I hate the Killers.
Wow.
I hate the guy.
Why would you hate that?
I hate the guy. I think he's got a contrived voice.
Why would you hate anybody?
Well, I don't like the Killers.
Wow, I can tell.
No, I think the guy's got a contrived voice.
Really?
It doesn't sound like a natural voice.
One of your producers in here, one of the people that's working here, just came in and said Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters live in like Central Jersey.
They do?
I never even knew that. You
It wasn't me. I don't know. I think it was Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon. You got to be a Foo Fighters guy, right?
I like the Foos a lot. Yeah. He's reeling right now, though.
Yeah, a little tough time.
Tough time. Tough time.
Got caught. He got caught.
Yes, he did. All right, so some news that sprung out of Eagles practice. A.J. Brown apparently suffered some kind of a knee injury and is not practicing or left practice. Suffered it in practice.
He is practicing, though. He's out there today.
He is?
Limited. He's limited yesterday.
So he had some kind of a knee situation yesterday.
And Nick Sirianni, I say Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, Sirianni is probably the right way to say it. What I say, Sirianni?
Well, you're more Italian, so you say you said Sirianni.
We see, we cut off words. Italian. It's probably Sirianni's probably the best way to say it.
Yeah.
But Italians, mozzarella. It's mozzarella is mozzarella.
Yeah.
That's how Italian they cut off the word.
And I still say gravy. Thanks for your influence. I don't say sauce.
Oh, you do? You say gravy?
I don't say sauce.
See, we said sauce in our house.
Really?
Yeah. So I always go, it doesn't matter. Gravy, sauce. Depends on how you were brought up. I was brought up in a sauce family, not a gravy family. Now, South Philly, mostly it's all gravy.
The gravy. But yeah, A.J. Brown is at practice today. Don't know if he's limited or full participant, but there was a knee issue that popped up on the injury report. Coming out of the game Sunday when he was tackled in an inappropriate way, it was more of an ankle. So I don't think it's related. So maybe it happened in practice.
All right. I hope that he plays. So because with their full strength when he's on the field, it makes so much of a difference, like they did last week when they started at the passing by getting him the ball, which I think they should do every game to just get him off.
Yeah, and I was talking about this in our office at NBC Sports Philadelphia yesterday, Mike. I'll put it to you. If you could only have one of them on your team, A.J. Brown or Saquon Barkley, who is more valuable?
Saquon.
I disagree, because if A.J. Brown was given the same opportunities, the same number of opportunities, touches, I mean, you saw what happened last year. He became the only receiver in history to have, 5 straight games of 150 yards or more?
Yeah, but what's this team do best?
Right, but in the end, this league is built around passing in the end. And A.J. Brown is arguably the best receiver in one-on-one situations, makes people miss, leads the NFL in yards per catch. He's a beast. You cannot tackle him.
I agree with you. However, I think it's easier to replace a wide receiver than it is a back like Saquon.
Now, that's a good point.
Because look what he's doing. He's doing something that's more extraordinary than any back has done in a really long time. And he also catches the ball.
Yeah,
so,
that's a good point. But I think A.J. Brown, and in fact, you see most defenses, they try to stop the run.
Yeah.
So I think A.J. Brown, if he was given the same amount of touches, he'd have 250 yards every game, like Jamar Chase. A.J. Brown is incredible. And when you see him up close in person, he is so much bigger than he looks on TV.
He's unstoppable
He's a beast.
in a one-on-one situation. But the problem with if you gave him as many touches is that the defenses would eventually flood. And he wouldn't get as many touches, or that would lead to an interception. With Saquon, it's like, yeah, I get you. All right. Well, then you're saying go to Devontae. You say if A.J. Brown gets some amount of touches, if they take away the touches, then you have to go to Devontae. So you can't take away the touches from Saquon. He's going to get them.
Right. And I agree with you. Saquon is doing things, and the physicality that he brings with this offensive line that hasn't been done. Maybe Derrick Henry is doing it to a degree in Baltimore, but not to the level that Saquon is.
All right. I want to get into you a little bit, and then we'll get to the calls and the texts that we have on board. You have fashioned yourself as a man who is always on the scene, and hence the nickname comes Johnny Airport. I'm curious to know when you started doing that and how you did it and why you thought it was important to do it.
You want me to reveal how I know when people are
No.
coming in
I don't. I'm not asking you to reveal your sources. I'm asking you about the mindset of doing that. Why did you think getting to the airport was that important? In fact, you did it when nobody else was doing it. Nobody else even thought about doing it. So what was your thought process?
I think that before TMZ, I appreciate you saying it. Well, I remember when I was interning in college at Temple University, and I remember Larry Brown was hired by the Sixers. And you remember how awful the Sixers were, and they needed somebody. Larry Brown, a historic coach. And I'm like, you know what? We all want to interview Larry Brown. We all want to hear what Larry Brown has to say. Why is he coming to the Sixers? And so I found out when he is flying in, and I gave the information to the TV station I was interning, and we went and got Larry Brown and got an interview with him. Same thing with Dikembe Mutombo when he was traded to the Sixers. My feeling is, having grown up in Philadelphia, wow, this is exciting. We're getting an incredible player or coach. I want to go hear what he has to say about coming to our city. And so I said, you know what? I want to go like his first stepping foot into our town. Kind of TMZ before TMZ.
No, it's ingenious, frankly. So, in other words, most media people wait, and eventually the team will present it and blah, blah, blah. You felt it was important to get the first words that the guy would have rather than in a group setting.
Well, I mean, I have ADHD, so I'm always like, let's just go. Let's go. So, for example, when A.J. Brown was traded to the Eagles, incredible trade. And I found out when he was flying in, I went to the airport, got the first interview with him, and he said, like, I am so excited. I am coming here to play with my best friend, Jalen Hurts. I'm like, best friend? Really? I didn't know that. And he said that. So it was like, that is news. And that's the first time they're in the city. And look, it's not a negative thing. It's not like I'm going and, hey, you're on trial for this. It's something that's positive. They're happy to come to Philly most of the time. So I would like to get the first word because I think everybody's interested in hearing from that guy. I remember Alshon Jeffrey when he came to the Eagles. And I said, why did you come here? Because Carson Wentz is going to be the MVP. I'm like, wow.
What did he miss on that?
Well, no, Carson was going to be the MVP.
He was. Yeah. All right. So let me. You got to have somebody. I'm not going to ask you who your source is, but I think it's unique that you would get the information to know where he's going to be. I mean, that's the impossible part of the reporting. You have to know the airline. You have to know the number of the flight. You have to know where he is. I mean, it's not like the old days where you could just walk into an airport and you hear he comes out of the gate.
Right,
like you got to wait in a certain area now and find them.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So at first, were you able to get to the gate?
You know what? When Larry Brown and Dikembe Mutombo arrived, you were able to go right up to
in the old
plane.
Days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Before 9/11, really.
Yeah.
Changed everything, and now you got to wait. And by the way, when we go to the airport to go interview a player who's coming in or a coach, like Paul George this summer, we were able to get there now as a private plane, and he allowed us to come on the tarmac and interview him right in front of his private plane. The steps are out for him to climb up into his private plane. I'm like, this is cool. But I will tell you that one of the coolest things when we go to the airport is families who are waiting outside security for somebody coming back from serving our country or a relative they haven't seen in a long time. We get to see some pretty cool welcome home and like people crying and hugs. I think that should actually be like a TV show. People welcoming family members and service people back home. They haven't seen them in years. Come on, you on board?
Pretty good idea.
There's a lot of emotion.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my true crime podcast to a documentarian right now, but I'm a little occupied by that. But let's stay with this theme here because, first of all, for you reporters out there, the cultivated source where you can get that kind of information is unbelievably valuable, right? So you conquered that one. Now, you also have to have, excuse my French, balls to go up to a guy who may not want to be like accosted right away. Just come into the city, wants to breathe a little bit. So what's your methodology in going up to a guy? Because you got to go through the whole introduction, and you have to get past the fact that, oh, man, already this guy's going to. So how's that work?
Well, there's a possibility that maybe there's some groundwork laid beforehand.
Okay.
So they're not stunned that, hey, there might be somebody at the airport looking for a quick interview, question or two.
So maybe you get to an agent or a friend of a friend who knows the guy.
Yeah. And I don't normally go up to somebody with like a camera in their face. It's more like cameras off to the side. Walk us, hey, welcome to Philadelphia.
Oh, you do that first before you introduce the camera concept?
Most of the time, yeah. Now, I will tell you, there was one time that the person was not happy to see me, and that was Brian Colangelo coming back from a scouting trip one day after the article came out that there was a burner account.
Yes.
And
See,
so
that's the tough part of it when you have to do that. It's not all happiness and bubblegum and joy, right?
Yeah.
So how many of those kind of situations have you had where people went, just get out of my face?
Well, I saw Brian Colangelo come through security, and he saw me and a camera standing there, and I saw him with his lips, like, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like, oh.
So he thought he was going to be able to skate through the airport at least.
Yeah.
And find a hiding spot.
Yeah, and I was like all Sixers fans and people in Philadelphia. I just wanted to give Brian an opportunity. Like, it is all out there that you or your wife had a burner account. Do you want to say anything? It's disparaging your own players. So we actually made an agreement. He was very uncomfortable. He didn't want to be on camera. But he said, I will give you a quote. And the quote is, I had no knowledge this was actually happening. Now, we didn't have him on camera.
Yeah.
But I was able to get the information that I was looking for, whether it's true or not, because I was interested to know, this is one of the most wild things I've ever heard.
Right.
Did you really know that there was a burner account? Were you involved? Were you feeding your wife the information?
So he didn't even blow you off. He gave you at least a little something. Was there anybody that blew you off?
Is there anybody that blew me off? That's a great question. Not really, because most of the time it's a positive situation. It's like they are thrilled to come to Philadelphia. They're going to make a lot of money here. They're getting a contract, or they're coming to Philadelphia. So no one's really.
Let me give you a theory on why that is.
Yeah,
you're tall.
Tall.
You have a tall presence about you. If it was a wormy little reporter, I think people would be more inclined. I'm being serious about this. Now, you have a presence because you're a tall man, right? You're a handsome, tall man, right? They're not threatened by you. They think that maybe you're an athlete, which you're not.
You know what? I do get a little cred that I may have played basketball, which I was not good at.
Exactly. They think, this must be a baller.
Did he play?
A little wormy guy has no chance.
That's funny. I actually think it's because there's a camera present and it looks official. And I think it helps that we're NBC Sports Philadelphia. You know, we are in relationships with the teams. So I think, I think a camera, and I don't think I am an intimidating person.
No, you're a happy fella.
Yeah, like you.
You're right. I'm a miserable bastard. You're a happy fella.
So I don't think
you can go up to a guy and disarm him. Well, hello there. Hi, I'm John Clark from ABC Sports.
You think that's how I approach people?
No.
Well, hello there. Wow, is that what you think?
No. But
hello there.
You approach them. You approach them with a smile.
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's a happy circumstance. These guys like Trey Turner coming here for $300 million, Paul George, $200 million contract.
Did you grab Trey Turner at the airport?
No, I didn't. Now, I did grab Nick Castellanos, and he was not happy that I was there.
Yeah, well, that goes without saying.
Well, but I apologized to him after the fact. But he did give a great quote on camera.
Yeah. Didn't he give you a miserable also exchange somewhere along the line?
No, that was probably somebody else. But
well, who was that?
Well,
I thought it was you. Who was?
No, there was a thing with Jim Salisbury and ABC's camera.
Okay.
Because it was kind of at the end of the conversation between Jim Salisbury and the reporters, the writers, and then the cameras went off. And sometimes when the cameras go off, then you say, this is kind of off the record. It's understood. Like, you kind of discuss why the question was asked and kind of the confrontation that Nick Castellanos had with Jim Salisbury or somebody else. And so the camera then went back to Channel 6 and basically this is great stuff. Look at this. And that was considered off the record.
Oh, okay. That was with
and they put it on their air. Jamie Apodi.
Yeah, it was
put
the
on
Jamie
air.
Apodi controversy.
And so that did not.
Yeah,
sit with Nick well.
didn't it? Wasn't there a post game thing where Castellanos made it hard for you to interview? There wasn't there?
Well,
it was a post-game thing.
I would say he's a challenging interview
He's
because
a challenging
sometimes
interviewer.
he will give you one-word answers.
Right.
And you have to be ready with a lot of questions when you're interviewing Nick Castellanos. And look, I don't mind Nick Castellanos. I think he's intelligent. I think he is a soul searcher. Like, I think he thinks of things really deeply. But in an interview situation like that, you got to be ready because if he isn't all in on the question, he's going to give you a one-word answer.
Yeah. And that's what happened. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I texted you. I go, what are you going to wrestle with this guy all the time?
He's a challenge, but I like it. I like it.
All right, let's take a break. We're come back. We have Tim McManus coming up at 1 o'clock. I know we got Larry and Spencer on hold. I apologize, Larry, but I just wanted to explore this Johnny Airport situation. So we'll take a break. We'll talk Eagles with Tim McManus, this big game that's coming up. We got Holding Court coming up. And we'll continue on the Mike Missanelli Show with John Clark sitting in until 2. Back after this. on right now?
Stumped me. I don't know.
Fontaine's, D.C.
Wow, that's good.
It's the 1 o'clock hour. It's brought to you by Ferguson HVAC Line Conklin. Attention HVAC contractors. For equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job, visit one of Ferguson's county locations in Salem, King of Prussia, Pennsauken, or Westchester. It is the Mike Missanelli Show. The 1 o'clock hour, of course, was just brought to you by Ferguson HVAC Line Conklin, but it's also brought to you by John Clark, who is sitting in today for the last couple hours for our pal Bill Colarulo, who's at his daughter's little play at school. And of course, on Football Fridays, we always check in with the man who covers the Eagles for ESPN.com, and his name is Tim McManus. He's on the Comcast Business Hotline. Hello, Timmy. You're with Johnny Clark and myself today. Tim? There. We got him?
Hey, Mike.
There
John,
he is.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing, Tim?
Guys?
How you doing?
Everything's good, thank you.
All right, Tim, and let's get right to the business, because yesterday we had your colleague from ESPN.com, John Keim, on, and he established some differences for this game as opposed to the first time the Commanders played the Eagles. He said, Commanders were coming off a short week, which they were. Also, that the quarterback is feeling better. He was a little banged up. Also, that Marshawn Lattimore was not in that game, and he could be a factor. And also, Terry McLaurin really wasn't targeted a lot, and maybe this time he'll be targeted. How do you see the differences?
I think Keim lays it out well. Part of the reason that McLaurin wasn't targeted is because the Eagles did a really good job of taking him away. And that speaks partly to Quinion Mitchell and the kind of season that he's having, but also he was commanding a lot of extra attention the way that they were bracketing him in the defensive secondary. And the reality for Washington is there's just not that many offensive options for Jaden Daniels to go to. And Zach Ertz has been in the concussion protocol, so we'll see whether he gets out of that in time for this game. But if not, that's just one less option for Jaden Daniels to work with. That being said, I don't think that this is an easy game for the Eagles. I mean, they are now coming off of the full week's rest, and Jaden Daniels was dealing with that rib injury, and this is a team that's pretty feisty and has a bunch to play for in terms of getting into the playoffs and positioning. So the Eagles are the more talented team, but I expect it to be a bit of a scrap.
It's also the fact that being a team for the second time is usually tough within the division. But before I get to my next question, you have an update on A.J. Brown? What's going on with him with the leg?
Yeah, so he popped up onto the injury report yesterday with that knee injury. The day before on Wednesday, it was just rest. And so you infer from there that he injured himself during yesterday's practice. But we were just out on the practice field, Mike, and he was out there stretching. So I think that's a positive sign. Nick Sirianni was giving us absolutely nothing. We asked 4 or 5 different types of ways about Brown, and he wouldn't even say whether he was out on the practice field. 15 minutes later, we walk out there, and he's on the field. And so that's an encouraging sign. We'll see once we get the practice report and get into the locker room, see what the extent of the injury is and whether he was limited or full go. But the fact that he was out there, helmet in hand, probably a good sign for his status on Sunday.
Why do you think Nick was being coy on that?
I mean, that's just kind of what he does. He doesn't like to give anything when it comes to injuries. I don't think it does him any good. Like the Commanders are going to find out 15 minutes later whether he was on the practice field or not. I don't think that's going to totally rearrange their day or give them any kind of leg up if he tells us 10 minutes before. But that's his prerogative, as they say around here.
All right, so let me take this to the extreme here. The Eagles have established themselves as the best team in the NFC. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Given the Detroit's injuries, yes.
Right. Okay. So I was discussing this with John. When my eyes recognize a good team, that comes with expectations now, right? And the expectation is if they're the best team in the NFC, it shouldn't matter where they play an NFC title game. They should win that game. Now, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, and I know this is a one-game-at-a-time league and all that stuff, but is it unreasonable to expect that this team should be in the Super Bowl?
No, I don't think it's unreasonable to expect that. It's obviously it's not a guarantee. We know that. I think that the road through the NFC is not that easy, whether they end up playing this feisty Washington team in the first round or somehow it shakes out and it's the Packers in the first round if they don't get that bye. Minnesota, I know people aren't taking them seriously because of Sam Darnold, but all they do is rattle off wins, and Detroit does has been sort of the leader the entire time. So I don't think it's an easy road, and I think it would obviously benefit them if they were to be able to capture home field, more so if they get that number 1 seed so they can have the bye. Because to your point, Mike, pound for pound, this is the best team in the NFC. They have shown on the road, I would argue, they're probably a better team this year than they are at home. And so, yeah, theoretically, they should be able to take care of business. And I agree that the expectations have shot up so high at this point that anything less than the Super Bowl, I don't know, is going to be accepted here.
So if they didn't get to the Super Bowl, it would. I use the word colossal disappointment. Clark says he's not willing to go colossal, but wouldn't this be one of the most terrible kind of things that ever happened?
I mean, NFC. If it's an NFC title loss, is the world collapsing in here? I don't know, but certainly the bar has been raised. I think that's really fair to say. Like, people are looking around and saying, all right, like, what's the weakness on this team? They should be able to get it done. Look at those wide receivers. Look away. They got a top 5 defense. Now the passing game's getting up. They got an MVP candidate, Saquon Barkley, one of the best offensive lines in football. Like, they have an open window because Detroit has just gotten torn apart by injuries on the defensive side of the ball. So it's all lining up here, Mike. And, if they don't punch it through, we know what the reaction is going to be.
I mean, this is right there with Tampa Bay in my book. But, Johnny, go ahead.
I don't know if it's right there with Tampa Bay. I'd be disappointed, but not colossally. So Tim, I want to ask you about the Marshawn Lattimore factor, because we saw 2 years ago Lattimore did a really good job against A.J. Brown. Now, Gardner Minshew was the quarterback in that game with the Saints a couple years ago. And Lattimore, this first game with Washington, they didn't even target him. They didn't go after him down in New Orleans. So with him loving to play man coverage, it really kind of opens up more options for Washington in their defense. And we've seen the Eagles be a running team, but then last week, playing against the Steelers, who play a lot of single high safety, one-on-one opportunities, they went to the air. So how do you think the Eagles will try to attack Washington with the addition of Marshawn Lattimore, which kind of helps them expand their coverages?
Yeah, I think you lay it out well. I mean, it's an upgrade going from Lattimore over St. Juste, and I think that's a benefit for Washington. I don't think that they're going to be changing things schematically as a result of this, but it does give them better options to cover 2 of the top wide receivers in football. I would be surprised if they went too heavy with man coverage, though, John, because that is just something that the Eagles can exploit because of A.J. Brown. Anybody that's one-on-one, he's able to sort of demolish. And so I'm not expecting a ton of that. But the Eagles' formula from the last time was a lot of Saquon Barkley. And if you look at this Washington defense, they remain vulnerable against the run. They're 24th in run block win rate. So they're still getting gouged a little bit on the ground. So I feel like it's going to be a similar game plan. If you can get Barkley up and running, run some play action off of them, suck in the linebackers and allow some space for those wide receivers to operate, I think that's the perfect formula for the Eagles to come out with a win in this one.
Talking to Tim McManus, he covers the Eagles, of course, for ESPN.com. Tim, we had an earlier discussion about how good this defense is. And a lot of people obviously are they're over the moon over the 91 defense, which had all these great players, the Reggie, Jerome Brown, the Seth Joyner, the Eric Allen, all these guys. But we proved by the numbers, this defense is actually more efficient than that defense. Now, they didn't have the offense to balance the defense in 91. But how has this happened that this Eagle defense has become as good as it is?
Vic Fangio, I think, is the answer to a lot of this, Mike. I mean, there were some different pieces last year, but they lost some key pieces, like Fletcher Cox and Hassan Reddick. And if you're looking at it on paper, you're like, all right, how are they going to be better exactly? Like, that the floor gets raised because the defensive coordinator is one of the best in the business, so it's going to be competent. But for it to be elite, I don't know that anybody really saw that coming. So a lot of it goes to buy-in. I think that's something that I learned last year covering this team, is that how important buy-in is into coaches and scheme, and defensively, I can tell you definitively, it was not there. It was not there at 10-1. The minute that they lost, I had defensive players talking complaining about this, that, and the other thing. Like, they were, there was frustration even before the losing really set in. And it's a totally different situation when you have somebody of Fangio's caliber that just knows how to dial it up and has the inherent trust of these players. And so that's a big part of it. Credit goes to Howie Roseman and the front office for the fact that they drafted really well. They've hit a lot of their picks and signings out of the park. And to have two rookies come in and help transform a secondary is big time. So personnel definitely has something to do with it. The ascension of Jalen Carter, who creates trouble up front and allows things to flow from there for his teammates, is a big part of it. The growth of Nolan Smith on the outside, the fact that Zach Vaughn has been a revelation. There's all these little things that you can point to, but, the big umbrella over all of it is Vic Fangio.
Yeah, Tim McManus, this is John Clark again. I totally agree with you. And I wanted to ask one other question just about this Washington game because, Washington did play the Eagles tough in that first game. Washington was up going into the fourth quarter. I think the score was only 10-6. And then Saquon runs off a couple big runs into the end zone. But, looking at this Washington team, I think they have beaten up on a lot of bad teams. And they have not beaten a team with a winning record. 500 or better, they have not beaten a team that is a really good football team. So do you think in this game we will find out the type of team Washington is? Because I think we all know what type of team the Eagles are. And look, if the Eagles happen to lose on Sunday, Washington is more desperate right now, fighting to get into the playoffs. Would we find out about what this Washington team is really about on Sunday?
Yeah, I think that we will learn a lot, especially if they go punch for punch, because this is a Washington team that has arrived early. But people weren't expecting this. There was obviously a lot of excitement. You draft Jaden Daniels, and you have a coaching regime change, and maybe in a year or two we'll be competitors. But they're here, and they're going to be probably a playoff team, and they've played some tough teams here. To your point, I think it's more of a personnel thing. The fact that they go up against some of these better squads and they fall a little bit short. I just don't know if they're ready from top to bottom personnel-wise to compete with the big boys, on a consistent basis. But it seems like they have a pretty nasty mentality. You've heard some of these guys talking this week about how they think they're the better team than Philly, and so they're going to be hopped up for this one. I don't think there's any question about that. And to Mike's point, the fact that it can be difficult to beat the same team twice, and division game especially. So I do think that this is going to be one that's competitive. And, Washington seems like they're on the come.
Yeah, here's what we're going to find out. They're not even in the same league as the Eagles. That's what we're going to find out. Timmy, always a pleasure. We'll look forward to your reports. Talk to you.
Always good talking to you guys.
There he is, Tim McManus covering the Eagles for ESPN.com. Yeah, we have that Brian Robinson quote. We're going to get to that after saying that he thinks they're the better team. Yo, dude, what we smoking down there? Come on now. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Holding court.
If the Eagles do lose this game, does it knock you down a peg? I mean, all week long, I've been really high on the Eagles. I've been touting them as the best team in the NFC. I don't think anything really can get in their way towards the end of the season as they go into the playoffs. If they lost this game, I would just kind of like chalk it off as it's a schedule loss. And if they have to take the 2 seed, that's fine. Even at the 2 seed, they're the best team in the NFC. Even if they have to go on the road to win an NFC title game, I just can't see them going to Detroit and losing to that team. It's all beat up right now, and I don't think the Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold would be ready for that kind of a challenge to beat a really good defense like the Eagles. So I'm on easy street with this team. There's really nothing that can knock me off that perch, but I wonder how many people out there feel if the Eagles lose that would set them back and they would go into that feeling of woe. Would you feel terrible about it?
Mike and Bill have been pleading their cases.
Let me get this out of the way. I'm with you. I don't think they lose on Sunday. I think they're a lot better team than the Washington Commanders are. Commanders haven't beaten anybody that has a winning record. But if for some reason the Eagles go down to Landover, Maryland, and they lose this football game, I'm not going to freak out about it, but I also am not going to be feeling that great because now you've wasted any opportunity you would have of being the 1 seed. And it also depends on how the team looks in the loss. If they play well, they lose a close game, and maybe some fluke things happen that keep the Commanders in it, okay, I could live with it. But if they come out and the Commanders are able to stop the run and the passing game doesn't look effective, and a lot of the issues you saw in the previous weeks that had us concerned, maybe the first quarter scoring is a problem. Maybe Jake Elliott doesn't look good. Like if those things rear their ugly head, then I'm going to have my concern.
The Mike Missanelli Show Holding Court is brought to you by Grunko Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. We treat every case like it's Dallas Week. Pray for peace, prepare for trial. Now back to Mike Missanelli on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, it is 1:21 on the Mike Missanelli Show. Jalen Hurts, who makes what, $60 million a year, got fined $5,000 for wearing the wrong shoes, and we are told that the Jordan brand, the shoe brand, is picking up the fine for $5,000. Now, or A, I'm sure that he doesn't need that kind of charity. B, doesn't that defeat the purpose of a fine if somebody's going to pay it for you?
I've always had to pay my own fines, like parking tickets.
Yeah,
somebody doesn't swoop in and
we do, but we're not. We don't have the commissioner of the league who's trying to put forth some kind of a precedent that you can't do that. If somebody's going to pay the fine, a player can just do anything he wants.
Yeah, that's very true, and I find it bizarre that he wore 2 different cleats. They are of Eagles colors, though. One of them, I believe, Kelly green, but they say that is not a constitutional Eagles color. It's not. Yeah. I'm like, what? They wore the uniform this year, so the NFL's okay making money off selling the Kelly greens, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought there was a rule against somebody paying the fine, though. I don't know. Well, whatever.
I'm more hung up on the fact that he got fined for wearing the colors of the Eagles. What's the problem?
5,000.
What's the problem?
It's like a stick of gum.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. All right, let's go. Let's go to the phones here. Let's get Larry in New Jersey in here. Larry's worried about our pal Greg. Larry, what's up, buddy?
Look at this. I got 50% of the Mount Rushmore of Philadelphia sports legends on the line right now. Look at you two.
Wow,
you guys are killing it.
I'm honored to be in the category of Mike.
Clark's always been in the Rushmore. Maybe we got one of the
Michael, you're in there. You're in there.
Oh, thank you.
The gentleman on the line, he does need help. I'm in recovery. I gave my name and phone number to the producer to reach out to him and have him call me if he wants to talk.
I mean, we don't know enough about that situation yet. Maybe he just likes a daytime buzz, and but yeah, it is weird that Greg, for the last couple of calls, has been banging the Mad Elves. I don't know what that's about.
Right. I mean, I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I appreciate that, Larry. Thanks for your offer.
What do you think of it? Notre Dame and SMU in a 2-team teaser?
You're talking about you're getting you're taking the 7.5 with SMU.
Yes, so it'll be SMU.
I like that bet a lot. I think Notre Dame will actually cover in the end, and I think SMU will cover.
Right. That's what.
Wait. What's the line for Penn State?
8.5.
8.5. In the freezing cold of Happy Valley, you're thinking that SMU covers.
Yeah, I don't think they'll win. I think they'll.
Why?
What, SMU?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think they're going to win.
No, but I'm saying you don't think Penn State can win by 10 points?
No, I think Penn State will carry them for a while, and just do enough to win.
Are you down on Penn State?
No. I think they're going to win the game. I think 8.5's a lot. I think SMU is a little underrated in this spot. I know it's going to be cold, but I think they'll be able to hang. I think Penn State takes over in the fourth quarter, but maybe not cover the 8.5.
But you saw Penn State hang with Oregon the whole way.
Don, with the teaser, it's 6 more points. So I got SMU plus.
I like SMU.
Okay, good point. I like that.
Oh, you
I like the
teased it?
teaser. Yeah, that's a good call.
Right. And I saw Johnny in action, man. Brad Lidge was coming back from an injury, and I seen you there with him, man. You're awesome.
Oh, you're saying at the airport?
Yeah, Johnny Airport was doing his thing. When Brad Lidge came back from an injury.
Really?
You don't remember that?
I think I do. I think I do remember that. But you were at the airport. Were you leaving to go somewhere?
I was at the airport for a flight.
Oh.
But you had him in a hallway with nobody else around. It was totally dead. You had his undivided attention.
Oh.
He was there alone for a second. He signed an autograph for my kids. You did your thing, man.
Well,
You're Johnny Airport. That's why you're on the Mount Rushmore.
You know what? And I'll tell you what. Maybe we should have like a group field trip one of these times. Like you could come, we could have other people come, and we could have like a welcoming committee.
Let me ask you a question. This is a copycat industry in a lot of ways. Have people tried to follow your lead with this airport thing? You notice any spies from other stations trying to climb in on your gig?
This is great. It's like the movie Anchorman, the scene where all the other anchor
copycat league. It's a copycat industry.
We've had a couple of people show up.
Really?
From time to time.
Have they followed you to see where you're going, or where you clandestinely go to where?
That's a good point. I didn't know I was being followed. Maybe there was a helicopter up above me, like Goodfellas.
People try to you got the leads, and then people snaking around following you. That's what I would do if I was a reporter.
You know what? I got to be looking in the rearview mirror a little bit more and see any suspicious vehicles.
Yeah, you need to be more like me, suspicious.
Is that the way you live your life?
610.
These drones have got to be bothering you.
0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
It's a Football Friday. I'm Sean Rodman, and this update is brought to you by Ace Hardware Home Services. Got a leaky pipe? Having issues with your heat? At Ace Hardware Home Services, they're around the block with everything you need to fix. They've got the pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services. The Birds can clinch the division this weekend with a win over the Commanders. And, well, A.J. Brown picked up an injury during practice, it looks like, yesterday. According to the injury report, he was added with a knee injury. He was rested on Wednesday and was limited yesterday. Nick Sirianni didn't give many answers earlier today.
Hey, Nick, did AJ's knee injury happen in practice, or was that something from the game?
He was limited yesterday. We'll see how it is today.
Was it a practice thing, or was it the game?
He was limited. Yeah, he was limited yesterday.
Well, he didn't enter the practices with any status, so.
You guys can figure that out.
You can listen to Nick Sirianni's full press conference on 975thefanatic.com. The Sixers host the Charlotte Hornets tonight, and Joel Embiid is listed as questionable. At practice yesterday, Andre Drummond told the media, quote, "I'm sure Joel Embiid will be back tomorrow, too." According to Keith Pompey, Caleb Martin will remain out tonight as well with a right shoulder injury. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:50. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic, 975thefanatic.com.
Philly Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. We come down the home stretch here. Eagles and Commanders on Sunday. You got college football tonight. Notre Dame and Indiana. You got a full schedule of NCAA games going head-to-head with the NFL. How you feel about that, TV, man? Yeah, on. There you go. On button.
I thought I didn't have to worry about anything.
That was my fault. I meant to.
No, that's
turn
all
it
right.
off.
Like, is he incapable of pushing the red button?
I am a TV
It says
guy.
the one that says on, right?
TV
Okay, I got it.
guys, I mean, usually you just look where the red light is. I didn't actually have to
Well,
press
there's the red light. You push it.
it. I guess I've been pampered for many years.
Yes, you have.
Working on TV. Didn't have to dress up today, which is great coming in here. But what a wild day tomorrow, huh? You got Penn State, you got those playoff games, and then you got, 3 NFL games?
Yeah, and NFL going head-to-head with college. Like, is that foolish?
For who?
For college.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
NFL rules.
Absolutely.
They're king. Like, Penn State people will watch the Penn State SMU game, but
Yeah.
regular football fans are out after an hour.
Do it at a different time. Find a
Yeah,
way.
that's what I thought. It was weird.
Yeah, it is weird. You know what really kills me as a tennis fan? When the U.S. Open has their men's final on the NFL opening day, Sunday,
Yeah.
like at 4 o'clock when everybody's watching NFL football.
Yeah, you just got to give it up to the NFL and, playing around it. But we'll see. I will not be watching an NFL game for obvious reasons.
But yet you don't think
12
Penn
to-
State is going to cover 8.5. I'm stunned.
They're winning the game. But, here's what I would do. I would bet $1 million on the money line, which is minus 315.
All right, I'll tell you what. I would like to go with you a little friendly action here.
Half a mil apiece?
Well,
on the money line?
I will take Penn State laying 8.5.
Okay. All right, for a sandwich.
A sandwich?
Yeah.
At Mendy's?
Yeah.
A soup and a sandwich?
Yeah. Spencer in Philly, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Spencer.
Hey guys, how you doing?
What's up,
job.
Spence?
Great to hear you, Mike. Couple things. First, you are definitely both of you the Mount Rushmore. Two great guys. John's good friends with my mom, Mrs. Spencer, and John is one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I know John for a long time.
Wow.
I've seen John in action, and he is the man.
He is a hell of a guy.
Wow, I tell you, I did not
He
plant
really
this
is.
call. I'm serious.
Pardon me?
Do you
I
know
did
who-
not
do you-
plant this phone call.
Do you know who Spencer is? He's friends with.
Yeah, I heard his. I used to hear his voice on my mom's answering machine.
Oh.
But he knows who it is now. But either way.
There's a story here.
Man, I have so many stories
Oh,
about
man.
John,
No,
but I'll
time to
take
go.
them to my grave.
Time to go.
But, yeah,
Did you
I'm
date his
planning-
mom, John?
Absolutely not.
All right.
Let's not create any rumors here. He is not my son. This caller is not my son.
Oh, go ahead, Spence.
So,
I'm sorry. I digress.
No worries. I'm definitely planning on going to the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Wouldn't surprise me at all if they're there, and I really think they're just so good on all sides of the ball that they'll be there.
I advise Philadelphia Eagle fans to make their accommodations. I really do. Yeah,
I do too.
You know, even if they have to lose a deposit, you make it.
And I will tell you, just from our research, planning ahead, hotels are real scarce in New Orleans already. Like you're talking about by the airport for over $1,000 a night.
You might have to stay in Baton Rouge and get in. All right, so you like it, Spence. There you go. What was Spencer talking about there with his mom? Can you tell me?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I think it's maybe an inside joke from college days.
Oh, it is?
But I don't think there's a real story to it.
I think there might be a little bit.
Don't go digging.
Of a story. By the way, it's a Seinfeld question. You had 2 Seinfeld questions. Were they on the text board?
Yes,
Sean?
they were on the text
All right,
board.
text board Seinfeld question. Go ahead.
So the first one, nope, that's a different one. The first one we have is from, actually no name on this one. Seinfeld question based on intervention. In the episode, The Intervention, what does Kramer accidentally call the intervention?
What does Kramer call the intervention?
I don't know if he called it that, but maybe Jerry came in and said, "What do you think this is?" Oh, damn!
Wow,
That's a really good question.
Which intervention are we talking about?
We're talking about the intervention for his comedian friend. When they had the intervention in the apartment.
Oh.
And the guy had cotton in his nose, wanted to go with friends.
Yeah.
Richie. The intervention of Richie.
Oh, Oh, okay.
And Kramer said, "Can I stay?" And Jerry said, "What do you think this is? I can't remember. What is it? What's the
It's
answer?"
not a seance or something like
Interference.
Interference.
that. Wow. We're 0 for 1.
All right.
I thought you watched Seinfeld.
I
every day,
did.
Mikey
I
Miss.
told you I was zeroed in on it. I know the scene.
He's visibly angry.
Let's go to Chuck in Westchester. Chuck, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Chuck.
Hey, Mike. Hey, John. How you doing?
What's up, Chuck?
How are you?
So, I have my thought is that a great football team needs an emotional leader on both sides of the ball. And I think, like, Dawkins was the ultimate one in terms of that defense. And I'm interested to hear John's thoughts on who is that person or guy, multiple, on either side of the ball. Because I don't think it's Jalen. I don't think he's emotional. And I think it was Kelsey, and I think it's becoming Saquon. And I'm honestly not sure on the defensive side of the ball.
You know what? This is a great question. And you're right. It was Jason Kelsey, and then it was like Fletcher Cox in recent years on defense. That is such a good question. And I think defense, I think it's C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Because, and I would put in a little bit that Slay has been like the father to these younger players, especially in the secondary. But C.J. Gardner-Johnson, if you think about it, Super Bowl year 2 years ago and this year, I believe he is like 25-4 with the Eagles. And you saw how much they missed him last year. So I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson is the emotional leader, and I think he's reeling in his emotions a lot better this year, and he's almost like a calming influence with the defense, and I think he's evolved as a leader. And on offense, it's interesting you asked that question because I had Brian Dawkins on my podcast, and we were talking about the guys who have that emotion that you have to rein in sometimes. And Dawkins said it's Jalen Carter, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown is real emotional, and he will get guys going, fire people up, and he has those tough conversations. But he'll get on guys, and he's gotten on Jalen before, and sometimes maybe it's not met with enthusiasm when he does that. I would say it's either A.J. Brown or Saquon Barkley. Saquon much more calming.
Yeah, there's no question that Jalen is not an emotional leader. However, I was saying this the other day. He's effective because he's so weird. He's like the weird messiah that people look at and go, well, you know what? He's so different that he must have the secret. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in a way, it's like, you know, this guy. It's like he's in tune with a higher power. You know,
he's like Gandhi, or you're like, wow, what does he know that we don't know?
Exactly. But Gandhi was outspoken. Like Gandhi would actually talk. This guy doesn't talk. He's just there.
Yeah.
You know?
Good point. And you know what? I will say one thing. That's a great question you asked because I think Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson, I believe, have also learned from Jason Kelsey. And you see Mailata and Lane Johnson
especially,
also up there.
Yeah.
Well, Lane Johnson.
Lane is more salt of the earth type guy, but Mailata could, yeah.
But Lane Johnson speaks up a lot. I mean,
he
was one of the guys that went and knocked on Nick Sirianni's door and said, "Run the ball."
Yeah. You had to answer that, right? That knock. If it's Lane Johnson.
Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson?
No, I don't have time to talk to you guys right now. Sorry. Oh, Kerry in South Jersey checking in. We haven't heard from our pal Kerry in a while. Hello, Kerry.
Mikey Miss.
How are you?
It has been too long. And John Clark, how are you?
I knew you were going to call John Clark here.
Doing great, Kerry.
John Clark. I know. Yeah, John Clark got Kerry to call.
I've been busy, though, and I've been having to watch the show on YouTube at night, so I'm still connected. But, yeah, no, things have been good and busy, and I'm a fellow Temple alum. John, I have a question. Was it
for Temple,
BTMM when you went to Temple, Broadcasting, Telecommunications, Mass Media?
Yes, BTMM, yes, yeah.
Oh, you guys were in the same major?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Did you cross paths with the great John?
Temple made, and I have not. I do recall seeing you at some sort of event, and you were, obviously busy, and I was like, oh, my God, it's John Clark.
Oh,
but
man.
I worked at the station years ago, more in the music scene. But, yeah, I am with the people who are saying the Mount Rushmore comments, and it's fun to see you guys banter together.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite coming in here. Great to catch up with a Temple alum.
There you go. I am surrounded here by Temple people.
Oh, that's good.
You are.
It's unbelievable, and of course they're all Penn State haters, so I have to put up with that.
I never said I was.
No, you're not, but most of them are.
Well,
I'm not a Penn State hater either. I started at the Penn State Delco campus.
Maybe not you, but
which was renamed the Penn State Brandywine campus to make it sound better.
There you go. That's right. Yeah. That's right. He went there.
Brandywine. Sounds much better than Delco.
You went to Brandywine. That's right.
Delco. Lima.
Carrie, you like the Eagles to win this game?
I sure do. Here's the thing. We've never seen anything like this. They just get better and better, and they're just so in it and sharp. And even as stoic as Jalen Hurts can be, I wouldn't mess with that guy right now. He is ready to take this all the way.
I think they ought to play the Twilight Zone theme when he comes out.
Yeah, but I think they're going to keep winning, and I hope. And I mean, I will tell you, I will be not only colossally disappointed if they don't make it to the Super Bowl. I'll be devastated if they don't.
There you go. Colossal is the word of the day, Carrie. Thanks for checking in. Let me tell you a quick John Clark story how popular he is. We used to do a Phillies postgame show together. So after the show, we were both headed down to the shore. I'm driving down, you're driving down. I get a call from you. Hey, since you're headed down there, let's go to La Costa for a drink. Right, so I go, all right. So this is like
Seattle City.
It's close to midnight. So we roll in there, and John's like the Pied Piper. Every young kid in there flocks to him, right?
That's not true.
Yeah, everyone. I swear to God, 40 people came over. Now, I slide in there. Oh, Mikey missed too. And for the next hour and a half, all he did was buy us shots of Patron. What was it you were drinking at the time? What was it? The
Cafe Patron?
Cafe Patron was the shot of the day.
The Cinnamon Toast Crunch shots?
Right.
Yeah.
So that
can't do that anymore.
So I swear to God, I got to get out of here, dude. Because every time we did one, there comes another one. It was unbelievable.
And then
I had to roll to my house from there, and I was right down the street, fortunately. So,
and the kids, they wanted to do a bro ice with you.
They did want to do a bro ice,
which I don't even remember what that was.
That was a fad, the bro ice thing. I did one.
And knees and you do a shot.
I think I did one also. I'm never hanging with this dude ever again.
I got a quick story about Seattle. I remember one time a guy was like, "I want you to do a drink with me, but I want you to drink it out of my shoe, my sneaker." Now, when you're down the shore in the summertime, your sneakers are ratty. They've been sand and ocean water all over it. So I'm like, okay, so you want me to put like a beer in your shoe and then drink it? No, not the beer can. We're going to pour the beer into the shoe, and then you do the shot or the drink out of a sneaker, a ratty sneaker. I'm like, well, I don't really feel comfortable doing that. You know what? You're rude, man. You're not as nice as I thought you were.
Yeah.
You suck. I'm like, oh, well, what? Because I won't drink out of your shoe?
Yeah, that's unreasonable. But when you turn down a shot, you also get the same treatment. Well, so that's why I had to get out of there with you.
Well, you do the little poof, where you you dump the shot out as you're pretending to do it once in a while.
I'm not slick enough to do that.
Yeah, I've seen you do it. Come on. I know your move. I got the move from you. You took my move.
I don't think that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Mark in Jersey, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mark.
I might have been at La Casa that night.
What?
I can't believe you guys. You've taken me in so many different directions since I called. I'm like, I don't even know where to start.
Well, it says you want to talk about the Eagles rolling on Sunday. Are you now talking about Sea Isle?
I'm talking about Sea Isle. I'm talking about the silent Messiah.
He is. I'm telling you, man. He's like a higher power. The dude.
I'm talking about the guy that was calling out Johnny's personal life for no reason.
Yeah, Johnny was with his mom. He didn't like it very much.
That was a setup call.
But listen, I want to defend Greg real quick. Listen, guy is retired. He is having a couple mad elves during the holiday season.
Yeah.
It's Friday. As long as all of his obligations are met, guys, right?
Listen, I'm starting to worry about Greg. This is the last 3 calls. He was never like that, so I don't know.
It is heading into a big Penn State weekend now.
He's a Penn State fan.
It's a noon game tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So this is a build-up tailgate.
Full disclosure, fellas. I mean, I went Miller Lights. I didn't go Mad Elves, right? So
wait. When did you go? You're talking about today?
I started today around the noon hour.
Man, I don't know how you guys day drink. I can't day drink.
Mike Missanelli has a certain demographic at this 12 to 2 hour.
No, but I don't. I've met all my obligations. I can relax with.
So this is in leading into the Penn State game. You're telling me this is what you're doing, or this is an Eagles game? You got another day to drink?
He's saying Friday.
Listen, it's one day at a time.
Okay.
We handle each situation.
Yeah. For Greg, it could be one day at a time, actually.
Wait, how many have you had then so far this morning or this afternoon?
This morning, no, very specifically noon.
Okay.
How
many?
Had 4.
Yeah.
4?
I said 4. Well,
wow.
Listen.
Mike, we got to head out after this 2 o'clock show.
Knock yourself out. All right, it's time for closing arguments.
Now, closing arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit LowenthalAbrams.com.
All right, you don't have a closing argument, John. You can just sit at the next couple of minutes. My closing argument is very simple. The Eagles will beat the Washington Commanders. The Commanders aren't at their level. I know this. It's tough to beat a team twice in one season. Not if you're a better team. The Eagles are the better team. I think they'll win the rest of their games. They'll roll in on a big winning streak. And I know that's people don't like that either because it means they have to win 17 in a row. They're the best team in the NFC. I have no worries about them. I don't think they're going to have a letdown week, especially against this team. And they're the best team in the NFC, which means if they don't get to the Super Bowl, I am going to be totally devastated. Johnny, thanks for stopping by, man. It was fun.
It was awesome. It was fun. Now, I think we need to start a little program with your listeners to curtail a little bit of drinking until...
Listen to what we're playing. It's all cold along the beach. The wind's whipping down the boardwalk. It's Christmas time. What?
Clarence, you've been good this year. Clarence,
Clarence, you've been practicing real hard, so I'm saying I'll buy you a new saxophone.
That's great.
Everybody have a great rest of the weekend. We will talk to you Monday after the Eagles win. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.